Greetings, everyone. This is Cassandra-Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. And I am up in here today. Let's see if I can fix this screen here. I don't like that, but I guess it'll have to do. Greetings, knowledge born Allah. How you doing? Good to see you. Long time no see. All right, so I am going to probably do, because this was a very impromptu live, like I didn't promote it or nothing, but it's 11:11. You feel me? And I was like, all right, I got to do a live. Hey, what's up, sistrins? Save our trees. I am inner me, knowledge born Allah on IG. All right, so I have some announcements to make. I have some things I want to share with you, some encouragement I want to give you. I have a little partial reading for the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence tonight that I'm going to do for you. I'm going to read our conspiracy up on here today for you. And also, while I'm talking about the conspiracy, just let you know that I am going to be re-emailing out the conspiracy because I made some adjustments to it. When I read it aloud the other day, I noticed in reading it aloud that there were some grammatical errors, and then also I made a couple of additions to it. So I will read that tonight. I'm gonna try to chill up in here until I get, because like I said, I did not promote for this at all. So it's just gonna be people getting an alert that I just jumped the hell up on here. You feel me? And greetings, as Taylor. And so I'll tell you what, let me do this. Since there are some new people on IG, what I will do, like I'm gonna probably do forever, at least while we're doing this little project, is give a quick little background about what it is we're doing when I'm talking about a conspiracy. So today, there's so much I got to tell you. So try to keep me disciplined, okay? Today is 5/22/2025. For those of you who do not know, it's kind of a palindrome. I don't know if you're familiar with the term palindrome, but a palindrome, actually, I'm going to tell you a quick story while I'm waiting for folks to come up in the room. Actually, what a palindrome is. Greetings, Persis Andrew. So, what a palindrome is, whether it's in words or whether it's in numbers or whether it's in dates, is when you have a series of numbers or letters that are the same going backwards and forwards. This is kind of a palindrome because it's 5/22/2025, right? So you can see how it's 5 on the end, 5 on the end, twos, 4 twos in the middle. It's kind of a palindrome. But let me tell you what had happened last night, because I made up my mind I was going to tell y'all about it. Greetings, Shanta J. Made up my mind I was going to definitely tell y'all about what the hell happened to me this morning. And I was going to start by telling you about this palindrome. Actually, yeah, I'm going to do that. So yesterday, I was... I don't remember what the trigger event was, but I got on this kick. I don't remember what it was, but I got on this kick about doing a little research about like the weavers, right? So like spider mythology, web mythology, the fates mythology, the fates presented as the weavers, even like hair. Black hair as evidence of the magic of the weavers, right? Because I was thinking about how like Black women were multiple type weavers, right? So like I was watching this short yesterday. I think I emailed it to some of you about how Black women, not knowing what the future held, would use their hair as a way to secure the future of the people, braiding food, hiding seeds and stuff, legumes and seeds in their hair. When they got to the United States and they got to the point where they was trying to break free, you feel me? They would braid maps. They would braid they would do different types of like knots and things that would represent different things. So if there was if there were like a bunch of like like slave catchers or like scouts on the journey, then they would do certain things with their hair to let you know that when you see it, like this is the map. If the hair was, how we be doing them cornrows and they be like wavy like that meant that was a river. You feel me? If there was like a little, like a little knot in the braid, right, where it was like lifted up, that meant there were people like watching along that route. You feel me? They would alert people, you feel me, on how to own stop points along the Underground Railroad, like where the safe houses were. Women would weave that shit into their hair. You feel me? I remember what got me on it because I was dumb scrolling when I woke up yesterday morning, and what did I? Oh, I saw this cute. It was hilarious. It was on my Facebook channel. I saw this hilarious video yesterday of the sister who was watching this woman who did Senegalese braids. The video was so funny. I must have watched it 13, 14 times. It was too funny because she was like, I did not know that Senegalese women could braid hair that wasn't even there. I didn't know that you could be so talented that you could braid hair follicles, that you could just call the hair to the surface and braid the hair. That shit tickled me so bad because this sister's hair was non-existent. She was taking like little peach fuzz, like the little peach fuzz you have on your face, and just, and there was a braid. I said, God damn, that shit is magic, right? And so that got me on this whole day long trek, off and on, but all day trek on like the weavers, right? On the different evidences of the weavers, right? Not just, so okay, we got the braids, right? That's some magical, mystical motherfucking shit. You feel me? But then my mother is a quilter. So it was the same thing with quilting. Black enslaved women were magical, mystical, freaking quilters. And the slave masters did not know that they were using their quilting skills as a method to help people get from their captor to freedom, right? And so let me just segue, because the thing about the hair that got me on the hair thing yesterday was, I was like, I mean, maybe I kind of superficially knew it, but it really hit me hard yesterday when I saw this cute little funny video, and this woman was talking about, oh my God, this is magical what this woman is doing, whatever. And I started, and then another video I saw yesterday was talking about the sisters hiding seeds and legumes and grains and rice in their hair because they didn't know what they were going, but they needed to be able to ensure that they could eat wherever they ended up, right? And I said, oh my God, this is why there has been incessantly and unendingly this discussion everywhere, not just the United States. I think the United States is what started it, but everywhere on earth there is this perpetual discussion about Black women's hair. There is this perpetual condemnation of Black women's hair. There is this perpetual ridicule of Black women's hair. But at the same time, while there's all this ridicule and shame and all of it, all these unasked for opinions about our hair on the one hand, on the other hand, everybody and their mama that ain't Black want to mimic what we do. So two things are happening. One, the mimicking of what we do with our hair, right? We have in my estimation, have radically reduced the significance of by calling it cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is an extraordinary reduction of the crimes committed against Black and other colonized people. It's not cultural appropriation. It's straight up theft and robbery, just like stealing our coltan or stealing our land or stealing our bodies. There ain't no cultural appropriation. It's straight up old regular ass colonial theft. That's all the fuck it is, right? I digress, right? So on the one hand, white people in America in particular perpetually feeling entitled to every expression of art that we create. On the one hand, that's why the mimicking, that's why the mimicking, that's why the mimicking, that's why the butt fillers and all of that stuff is y'all are not entitled to have anything that is exclusively yours or that belongs to you. You exist as Black. It means whatever you create, whatever idea you come up with, whatever you produce, I, by virtue of being white, am entitled to it. You feel me? And so we get caught up in discussions about cultural appropriation, which muddies the water. It really waters down the significance of what has happened on the one hand. On the other hand, the ridicule, the shame, and all of that shit that comes with us, especially those of us who decide to wear our hair natural, is because, again, we got to get into this science. I'm going to say that shit 1,000,001 times. We have to get into the science of people's behavior. We have to get into the science of epigenetics. We have to get into the science of how it is not only skin color, eye color, hair color, and shit that is transferred in your genetic material, in your chromosomes, and in your DNA. It is behaviors, it is ideas, it's shock, it's fear, it's rage. All of that shit is passed down in the genetic material. And unless something has resolved it, unless something has cured this kink in your genetic material, this glitch in your internal matrix, right? And I can say matrix here, this glitch in your matrix, unless something has happened to resolve it, to heal it, then all of that malignant shit is passed down in the DNA. So when white people, get offended, take it so personal, are so deeply uncomfortable by me stepping into the place with nappy hair, or by me stepping into place with some cornrows or some bantu knots, you feel me? It is this deep memory that they all collectively have. They all collectively have about our hair being an outward representation of our inherent magic, our inherent power, our plotting and scheming, our coming up with ways to deceive the massa. All of that shit is triggered in them in an instant, because there's no way that you can consistently have these kind of responses all over the planet just about our hair. Just about our hair. Slavery didn't exist the same way. It existed, but it didn't exist the same way in like South Africa as it did here. But Black girls and women are perpetually talking about how they are targeted all the time, expelled all the time, shamed all the time about their hair being, quote, unkept. You feel me? This is a global collective memory that there is something peculiar about them niggas' hair that makes them super witchy, that makes them super powerful, that has them always, quote, plotting and scheming. And so when they see our hair, I have had white women, I'm not joking, and y'all see it, it ain't even nothing peculiar to me, who get a child, it is like a slight to them that my hair grows, right? Like, this is one of the things that they have been taught makes them more appealing than us, is this myth or this make-believe that our hair don't grow, right? That we can't have long hair. And my hair, I told you, I lost half my hair when I got to California. My hair used to be past my ass. You feel me? And I'm telling you, it never failed. People, I'm always talking about how white women in particular, but white people have perfected the art of nasty nice. It would never fail. Um, oh my God. Is that all your hair? They can barely even hide the disdain in their face, even as they trying to play nasty nice. You feel me? Oh my God. Is that all your hair? Oh wow, it's so long. Right? Just yes, that passive aggressive, nasty nice. In the South, we call it nasty nice. You feel me? and and so again, I just want to be able to like really, really drive this shit home as simplistically as I can all the time, that nothing that happens in this world, no opinion that people have in this world, no behavior that they have in this world is not tied to a history. And if that history has not been harmonized, balanced, and resolved, that shit will linger forever and ever and ever. So now so let me just say, all right, so I was getting into this deep dive about the Weavers. I was like, damn, the hair shit is deep. I might have to spend a whole 3-4 hours just talking about the hair on another day. Okay. But not just our hair, because there are plenty of stories before white people started coming to the Western Hemisphere of how the art of white women would braid each other's hair, but they would do it in rituals. They would do it in ceremony. They would braid each other's hair. And this was one of the ways that they would quote witch weave, is braiding their hair and speaking incantations while they would braid their hair. And the church banned it. Not only did the church ban it, the church believed that because that women's hair was what did they say? It was like women's body hair, their head hair and their body hair was the origin of their devil magic. It was the origin of their devil magic. And so every time a woman was accused of being a witch, they would shave all of her body hair. Thank you, Claudia Ankara, for the donation, baby. They would shave all her body hair from head to toe to quote disempower her before to make her more pliable during her inquisition. So I'm sitting here telling y'all over and over and over and over and over again. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but we have to do this work. That before any of them ever left Europe, the shit that they inflicted on us was not peculiar to us, you guys. It just wasn't. It wasn't. To look at 781 years of Inquisition and more than 600 of those years being exclusively in Europe, and to see that lynching was not peculiar to Black people in the South. Lynching happened in South Africa. Lynching happened all over Europe by Europeans towards Europeans, primarily women. Um, all I mean, we see glimpses every now and again of the torture tactics used by the church in the Inquisition process. The instrument they call the Iron Maiden, right? Where it looks like a casket that's shaped like a human, and it's on a hinge and it swings open, and inside there are stakes, metal stakes about this big around and this long, that are pointy on the end, and they put the woman in the thing in slow motion, close the thing to try to get them to confess. And if they don't confess, they close the thing and they die from 1,000 puncture wounds. You feel me? Or the thing that I forget what they called it, but it was this vice that they would put on their fingers to dislocate all the joints in their fingers, and they would do that one by one to dislocate the women's fingers, each joint, one by one. The metacarpals, each metacarpal one by one hand at a time. You got 3 joints on each finger, you feel me, except your thumb. And they would literally break the women's fingers at the joints one by one until they confess. You feel me? Just the most gruesome and unimaginable tyranny whatsoever. But because we've all been made enemies of one another by these institutions who play us like goddamn fiddles. White people and black people and native people and Mexican people, we become nationalists. We're like, well, fuck everybody else. It's just about me and my history and what happened to us, and fail to see, white people in particular, fail to see the sameness of the shit that happened to them and then what they set out in the world based on their trauma to do to everybody else. I want to tell you something, and this is probably going to be a whole live that I do eventually. But what I want to tell you is going to be the name of the live, is every monster you've ever seen, every monster you've ever seen in a horror movie, every monster you've ever read in a book, every monster you've ever read in the Bible, every demon, every ghost, every apparition, every horror story you ever read, every serial killer ever created, every cult leader ever created, every monster that has ever existed was created by Abraham and his descendants. Every freaking monster that has ever been created, that you've ever come into contact with, that you've ever seen, every horror movie, every thriller, every, every single monster, the devil, the church already admitted that, you feel me? The devil, Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call them on any given day based on white people's fears. You understand what I'm saying? Or Arab people's fears, or Jewish people's fears. I'm talking about the descendants of Abraham about here, you feel me? I'm telling you, every horror story ever created, the bad guy in that story was created by the church, was created by the Catholic Church, was created by Protestants, was created by Judaism, was created by Islam, was created by the fanaticism of those who need an enemy to perpetually exist in order to justify your exploitation, period. The only thing that can justify your exploitation is for the forever presence of an all elusive enemy. That's the only reason they exist. It's the only reason they exist. Every serial killer is a direct descendant of the church. Not just the Church of Judaism, because I went on a deep dive about the history of serial killers in the United States, and I could not believe the number of serial killers that was Jewish, and then was be able, by virtue of the loophole in the United States, that if they dual citizens, they can jump a plane and go to Israel and not be extradited. Yep. Yep. There was a Jew in the Northeast somewhere who went on a killing spree, killing only black men, jumped right on the train, and has not been apprehended and brought to the United States since. Every monster that exists was created by your church. I'll take it a step deeper. Every rapist, every child molester, everybody that behaves like a monster is a damn indirect disciple of Abraham. Yes, he is. I'm trying to give y'all a word. I'm trying to give y'all a word. Because the thing that got me on that, I'm gonna get back to the Weavers in a second, but the thing that got me on that was, I'm doing all this study. I was just looking for a thumbnail on some witchy shit. I'm like, ooh, let me get a cute little witchy picture for the thumbnail. And I'm looking through all these pictures, and they got all these pictures of all these witches, and they're ghoulish, and they're scary, and they live in the woods, and they always by themselves, and they got a little spider web hanging from their nose, and they casting juju, and they doing all the shit. You feel me? They they got frogs around them, and owls and crows, and they hair blowing in the witchy wind because they conjuring the shit, and bitches got lightning coming out their fingertips, and all the witches. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this shit today. I said, these motherfuckers are really diabolical. Because I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care if she Oh, I don't care if she wrinkly from head to toe and her titties is hanging down to her belly button and she don't do shit but walk the streets naked every day, scaring kids. Nothing. The most gruesome witch you even how they talk about the goddesses. Remember how they talked about Lilith? Lilith, she's so diabolical. She be eating niggas' babies. You feel why every story is about a witch eating kids? Why they do that? Why they do that? Where that story come from? Huh? Where that story come from? You understand? They eat. Oh my God, you gotta be scared of the Jewish witch. Her little hook nosed Jewish gonna eat your baby. Where they get that shit from? Where they come up with that story from? So much so that for at least 1,200 years, Arabic women were hanging. Child, I had a whole experience. Y'all know the little what's it called? The Hamsa. Y'all know the Hamsa? Hamsa. The Hamsa. Anybody know the Hamsa? I had to get rid of mine after I read this shit. I had to get rid of mine. It's the little blue, it's the little hand. So usually it'll be silver or it'll be blue, and it's like this, and it's got a big blue eye, and it's blue and it's white and it's black, right? And it's supposed to be a protection amulet against obviously my finger ain't gonna go that way. It looked like two thumbs, right? And it's everywhere, and it's everywhere, right? Bay. Let me see if I can find. I wasn't gonna talk about this, but I read about the Hamsa and what the Hamsa really represented and what it was used for. I said, let me get all this shit out of my house today. Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad. I might have to find it later. But anyway, so these women, one of the uses, yes, I was mad. I love that cute little, that thing. Thank you, Save Our Trees. That little bullshitting ass bullshit. I mean, I got my eye on my forearm, but it is a dinkra, and it means something different. And they probably stole it from Africa, but I digress. Okay. So I'm sitting here, and one of the primary uses of the Hamsa in the early years was a protective charm for pregnant women against Lilith. Y'all heard? Did y'all just hear me? Did y'all just hear what the fuck I just said? That the very first earliest uses of the Hamsa was women would hang it over their door, or they would hang it, like as soon as they knew they were pregnant, they would hang it over their door to keep Lilith from coming to eat their babies, aka quote kill their babies while they was pregnant. So these women, not knowing, because men done took over every goddamn thing and changed the meaning of every goddamn thing, thinking that they are, quote, protecting their babies. Meanwhile, they are chasing away one of the most powerful and earliest articulations of the goddess that empowers women, that equalizes and harmonizes power between man and woman. And you just, child. Oh, I was so mad when I read that shit. Goddamn. And there is, I don't want to misquote, but there is an insidious reason that the eye is blue. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I just thought it was cute. It's royal blue. It's it's one of my favorite colors. You feel me? Chad, I read the reason that the goddamn eye was blue, and I was through. I was too through. I was too done. When I tell you I ain't keeping nothing in my house, I ain't buying shit until I know what the fuck it mean. I ain't accepting what somebody else say or what the quote popular opinion of what the fuck it mean is. Because when I tell you everything has been stolen and warped, and you feel me? Like I said, I'm not gonna go into it. Sorry, that's a cliffhanger for y'all. I'm not going to go into it because I got other shit to talk about. So back to the Weavers, okay? So I don't even know how I got on the Hamsa, but back to the Weavers. So let me tell you what had happened last night, y'all. Oh my God. So all day I'm in this wormhole, different aspects of the Weavers. Oh my God, my brain, I must have saved about 200 pictures. Oh my God, this shit's so deep, right? Because we the Weavers, that's what our conspiracy is called, right? Baby, let me tell you what the fuck happened. That's why I told y'all, that's why I continue to tell you, pay attention to everything, 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 everything. I was up in here, I had been sitting at the computer for so long. So I moved my computer where it is now. You see, I'm not on my desk. I was like, oh my God, this is too much. I got to move so I can watch some TV while I'm doing this shit. I turned on the TV. I started watching this show last week. Is truly corny, and it's unfortunate that it's corny because it's directed by Mario Van Peebles, who I love. You feel me? I can't believe he old as he is and he look good as he do. That is a good looking nigga. Okay, I told y'all I met him. He was my first famous person in California. You feel me? So anyway, so I was like, oh, cool. You know, it's the name of the channel is called, it's like an app that you download. It's called All Black. All the movies are Black directors, Black producers. I was like, okay, yeah, let me get up on here. And I saw one that was super, super cute. I was like, okay, let me check this out. The name of it, and it looks dope, right? It's like got all these serpents on the promo. It's called Superstition. It's a series, right? Mario Van Peebles and several other beautiful Black people. But unfortunately, it's not old school Mario Van Peebles. I don't know if he got lazy or something. The production quality is the only okay. He'll purposely say she watched it. I couldn't. I'm still watching it, even though sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's so corny. You know what I'm saying? Like it started getting better, but like there's some shit that's just so cheesy. It's so hokey. I'm just like, oh my God, right? But anyway, so I have been like, sometimes I just have to turn it off. I'm like, I can't finish the rest of it today. There's too much, right? I sat up in this motherfucking chair where I'm sitting right now. And I am, like I said, I still got about 30 tabs open of pictures that I'm trying to collect about the weavers, the different cultures, what they say about spiders and webs and all of the shit. So I got all these tabs open about Anansi and about like what's her name? They're called the I think they're called the Nones. They're Celtic versions of the Fates who are weavers. This so all these stories that we never even made a connection that are connected to the story of the weavers, like what's her name? Sleeping Beauty, who pricks her finger on the spinning wheel, or what's his name? The nigga who slept for a long, long time. The fairy tale about the nigga who slept for a long, long time. What was his name? Started with an H. I forget. But anyway, there's a spindle in there. There's a whole little thing about the right in Hindu tradition, in Hindu mythology, the what we call the chakras were actually, child's a long story, but actually based on the spindle, the spinning wheel, the weaving wheel. That's what it was based on. So anyway, I'm up in here, child, in a straight up wormhole, just off these pictures and the few little stories. So I'm going in. And I just got this corny show called Superstition. The Norns. Thank you. The Norse Norns. So man, y'all just be jolly on the spot. I love that shit. And so I had the shit playing in the background. I was like, oh Lord, this corny shit. Let me just listen to the noise while I'm up in here doing what I'm doing. Let me tell you what the fuck happened. I wrote it down because I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm getting chills just beginning to tell you. Yesterday, Rumpelstiltskin. Thank you. That nigga right there. Yes, him. Okay. So yesterday, well, this morning, today, at which is 5/20. That's how I got on this long ass story. I told y'all to keep me disciplined. 5/22/2025. That's how I got on it. Was starting about the palindrome, right? Baby, I am sitting here in this wormhole, listening to this bullshit on TV as background noise, child. At exactly 2:22 a.m., y'all. 2:22 a.m. on 5/22/2025. I look up because I hear this white girl in the show say Anansi. I said, what? I said, wait a minute. Pause. I went back a little bit. I'm telling you, I'm sitting here writing about spiders and webs and destiny and fate and shit. And this white girl say, she said, and she mad, right? So Anansi is played by the girl who used to play Whitley in a different world. And so she comes in and she says what she says, and the white girl, because I'm not paying attention. And then I hear the girl say, oh, yeah, her name is not Aunt Nancy. But I guess if you change your name all the time to try to hide your true intentions, then that would make sense. Her name is Anansi. I said, oh, my God. Listen, look at my notes. You see, I got a little shock face. See that little shock face? See that little shock face right there? I drew a little shock face. At 2:22 a.m. on 5/22/2025. This is what I wrote. I sat down 2 hours ago to search images of Spider-Woman myths. I started playing this corny ass series called Superstition, season 1, episode 5, at the timestamp 7/7/37. I've been looking at Goddess Spiderweb stories for hours. Then the woman that played Whitley in the 90s show A Different World is playing a character named ... Anansi. The episode is called Tangled Web. Tangled Web. Okay? I didn't even know the shit was called Tangled Web. I just turned the shit on. And then she said Anansi, and then I pushed pause, and then the title of the episode comes up. I said, what the whole fuck? Okay? Then I haven't searched these names yet, but the white girl was like, yeah, her name is Anansi. But she's also been known as Kurtikau, Shy Maria, Shi Maria, or better yet, just straight up Trickster, right? And then then the white girl went on to say she weaves more lies with that creepy blood magic of hers. She weaves more and more lies with that creepy blood magic of hers. I said, y'all better cut it out. Y'all better stop the whole press, okay? Then Whitley, the way she does her thing, the way she tells someone their fate, because the whole reason that she came to the family was because she had seen that there was death in their future, and she has known this family a very long time. And so she tells the wife of the family, she's like, look, the only way that we're going to be able to get in front of this is for me to weave your dreams, child, to weave your dreams. God damn, to weave your dreams. So she basically gives the mom and the oldest son. She gives the mom and the oldest child. You ain't missed shit, because let me tell you why. Queen QB, you're not. There was no notification. I literally just pushed live. I didn't prep it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, it's probably gonna take people a long time to get up on here. So let me just run my mouth until people get up on here, because I literally done go live. So there was no notification for anybody. So I know some of y'all are having problems with your notifications. I want to remind you again that when you click the bell, you have to click it twice, and then it'll bring up, I think, 4 different options, and you have to click the top bell, which is to receive all notifications. Otherwise, if you just click the bell and go on, you will not get the notifications. Because just clicking the bell just gives you, quote, personal notifications, not all notifications. I don't even know what personal notifications means. You feel me? But if you want to get all the notifications, you have to click on the bell twice, and then 4 little bells will come up. And then you click the top one, and it'll have like 2 little lines on top of the bell that'll tell you that you're getting all the notifications. And then check your settings too. Okay. Because I've checked all my settings, because so many people were complaining about not getting notifications. So I emailed the company and talked to a tech, and They were just like, yeah, this is what you have to do. They walked me all the way through it. I did everything. And they said, if people are still not getting notifications, then they have to make sure that they click the right notification. Okay. All right. So anyway, I said, so the way that she did what she did, she's like, okay, so I gotta put you in a trance. You feel me, baby? Let me tell you what she had did. So now I got other wormholes I got to get up into, because I've seen this a lot, and I don't know what like the occult or spiritual or mythological symbolism for it is, but I've seen it a lot, right? Where she has a spider in a jar, okay, and she needs a little bit of the blood of each of the people that she's going to put under. She puts them under, and while they're under, the spider goes into their ear. I have seen this theme a lot in movies. I always just thought it was like a freaky, like, ew, try to gross you out type of thing. But seeing it in this context where she's using the spider to like get to the essence of what it is they need to know about their life, that can help them get in front of this looming death scenario that's in front of them, right? And she called it like weaving their fate or something to that effect, right? So she had the spider in their ear and shit, right? And then there was another episode right before it, so I just had it playing back to back, because I told y'all one of my current deep dives, I haven't talked to y'all about it, but it's one I'm like actually working on in real time, is about mirror magic and the way that it shows up in different movies. So the whole episode prior to that one was about mirror magic, right? So anyway, that happened. Now, I know that I be getting real hype about occurrences like that. And especially for you who may be novices, right? Like in your spiritual walk or in your spiritual life, it may seem weird to you that I would get so hyped about what you right now are probably just calling coincidences or quote synchronicities or whatever, but it is not. What it is just what I entitled this live that I'm doing right now. It is those moments that we call quote synchronicities are what we call a crossing of the thread, a crossing of the strands of life when they make a connection. And I talked a lot about this. I'm not going to go into a deep dive about it, but when I talked a lot about this. I don't even remember what live it was in, but when you look at like an EKG of the brain and how the synaptic activity is behaving, and you can see under imaging, you can see when two separate synapses make a connection. What is it that happens when two separate synapses make a connection? What happens? Anybody know? Anybody? Anybody? Nobody know? But in the moment, what happens? You're close. You're the closest. Healed purposefully with Queen Libra Empress. Now, I'm talking about when you're looking at the imaging of two synapses making a connection. What is it that you would see if you were looking at the imaging in real time? You're close. Healed purposefully. You would see a spark. You would see an electrical charge. Yes, you're right. You would see a spark. You would see a big of light, right? And the same thing happens when at the very moment that the sperm enters into the ovum or the egg, right? Now they can tell you that they can show you through microscopic cameras, nope, there is an actual visible spark of light at the very moment that the sperm makes entry, right? And I did a whole long laugh about how just that spark of light is always the evidence of the ongoing evolutionary and emergent process. It's everywhere. And we're so unaccustomed to recognizing that we that it seems small to us. You feel me? The same thing happens in the heart with the SA nodes. With the synaptic activity in the brain, the moment that we're conceived, that spark of light at the top of our head, the moment that our head breaks the surface of our mother's body and is exposed to light, the spark of light, and first thing in the morning, especially if we were sleeping and living cyclically, like when I told y'all yesterday, I think it was, or the day before yesterday, when I was sleeping outside for 6 weeks. I couldn't even help it. I like to sleep in, I like to sleep late, but when you sleep outside, I'm telling you, instantly fall into a rhythmic and cyclical relationship with the earth. Every morning, as soon as the sun broke the horizon, my ass was up. That is as soon as you open your eyes and the sun is there, that's again this metaphor, real-time identifiable metaphor, right? For going into the darkness and then being illuminated out of the darkness, right? So when we experience, quote, these things that we reduce to coincidence or, quote, synchronicities, I don't even know what the fuck that means. You know what I'm saying? It's not, right? It's not. This thing, one, I keep telling you, it is something that you have to be still. When those kind of things happen like that sharp, you have to be still in that moment, because there is something, if you get too busy, we all are, if you get too brainy, if you get too, distracted, those little, quote, synchronicities, you'll be like, oh, that's cute, and keep it pushing in the same energy and direction that you were, instead of pausing in that moment and saying, okay, what is it that I'm supposed to be learning right here in this moment? Like bringing myself present. There's something for me here, and recognizing that what we have called coincidence or synchronicity is a crossing of the thread, no different than two synapses making a, what does she call it? A new neural pathway. What does that mean in layman's terms? It means when an idea becomes a part of self. When we learn something new, not just learn something new, but it becomes a part of us. We accept the new thing, what you call new neural pathways. That is the moment that the idea becomes a part of self, right? All right. So that happened last night. I was like, okay, cool. Not only that, what else? Well, I say last night, but it's still today, because I didn't go to bed till like 4 o'clock in the morning again. But think about what happened, because I started that process, on the 21st, yesterday, right? But what is that a part of? What happened yesterday? What significant happened yesterday? Astrologically, what significant happened yesterday? Anybody? I don't know why y'all be acting like I'm asking y'all trick questions. I'm not your 4th grade teacher. I'm never gonna ask you. I'm never gonna ask you trick questions. I'm just trying to see if you're following me. You feel me? Like, I'm never gonna ask y'all trick questions. I'm never gonna. I don't. That's white people shit, as far as I'm concerned. That's what white people do. I don't do that shit. I'm trying to be straight up with you. I'm trying to make sure. I know I'm giving y'all a lot of information all the time. I'm trying to make sure you keeping up. You feel me? Do I need to pull back the reins? Am I going too deep? Do I need to pull back the reins or some shit? No, we transitioned out of Taurus season. We transitioned into Gemini yesterday. Yes, we did. We transitioned into Gemini season yesterday. And that's big for a whole gymongous host of reasons. One among many of which is the fact that y'all and I have been on some seriously deep brain hurting dives over the last 2 months about twins, twin energy, why it's showing up everywhere. It's showing up so much more now than it ever has. What the fuck is the deal? Why all these movies got twins in it, twins upon twins? Like, what the hell is going on with the twin energy in everything right now? Remember, I told you when I was doing the preview for the Sinners movie, I was like, because I went in, you feel me, on the Sinners movie. I'm gonna talk about that today too. And there are, what did I say, 11 movies this year? 11 movies that have either been released or are going to be released before 2025 is over. 11 movies this year that have twins in it. 11. 11. 1 1. 11. 1 1. 11 movies being released this year with fucking twins in it. Talking about some 11 shit. And I started the live at 11:11. I don't know if anybody caught that. I started the live at 11:11. Anyway, the other thing, right, is this week, as we were transitioning into Gemini season, what happened? What had happened? What had happened this week? 11 men broke out of a prison. 11 men broke out of a prison in Louisiana. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I know there's so much going on in the world, it's hard to keep up with everything. But in Louisiana, I think it was the same day that that damn plantation burnt down. 11 men, child. Not only that, because I was already tripping. I said, what the fuck? 11 men broke out of that goddamn prison. And yesterday, I was like, oh my God, because I was dumb scrolling in the bed before I finally convinced myself to get out of bed. And I saw this TikTok, and this brother was like, can y'all believe what happened with these men who broke out of prison? I was like, damn, what happened? They caught them all? Child, do you know? Yeah, I know they caught 4 of them. I did hear that today. But child, do you know that them 11 men who broke out of the prison, all of them were Geminis, y'all. I said, you cannot even write this shit. All 11 of them were Geminis, y'all. It was all over TikTok yesterday. People was like, what the fuck? Oh my. Yes, y'all. 11 men. Somebody made the joke. If it was 11 men, 22 people. If it was 11 men, 22 people actually broke out of the jail. I said, God damn. Yes. Can y'all believe that shit? I'm trying to put y'all motherfuckers on game, bitch. I've been talking to y'all about this. And I want to say, I appreciate y'all so much. So many people over the last week have been going back to like really old lives of mine for whatever reason, just all random. Like this dude that's sometimes up on here, but I be going live so late these days that he can't be up on here often. But he did email me, and he was like, yo, he said, he's emailed me today. He was like, I don't know what got me on it, what drew me to it, what made me do it. He was like, but I went back, and I don't even remember what the live was. I'll go back into my messages later. He was like, but I went back to this live that you did in April of like, I think 2020 or 2021. Just all random. I got 400 and something live videos on the shit. He was like, I just randomly went back to some damn thing that you did in April of whatever the fuck year it was. And he was like, girl, he was like, what you just said, what you said then literally just happened this week. Like your ass had a crystal ball saying word for word what the fuck happened this week. And I went back and watched this live because it's rare that I go back and watch really old lives. I know I should, but it's rare. I got so much going on. And so only time I do that is when people go back. And I sat here and watched this goddamn live in utter disbelief. And I do this shit. And I was like, throughout the whole live, I was like, God damn, I said that. I was like, I said, damn. I'm sitting in the car talking to myself like, God damn, Cassandra, girl, you said that shit. I was tweaking, okay? Tweaking. That happened so many times this week. I cannot believe how many people went to like very old videos to draw my attention to something very specific in those videos. Very old. You feel me? So listen, don't take nothing for granted. So this shit happened. Two. I told you at 2:22 a.m. on 5/22/2025. You feel me? At 2:22 a.m. On the next day from our entry, the same day if you have me till at our entry into the Gemini season. You feel me? Two everywhere. Okay. Then I start hearing at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning about these 11, aka number two, 11 or 22, like the other person said. If they Geminis, it may be an 11 physical person, but 22 people broke out of that jail, right? These 11 prisoners who broke out the motherfucking jail the same day that goddamn plantation burnt to the ground. I said, yo, whoa, right? Well, I don't know if you know or not, but it was all over the news first thing in the morning. Another plantation burnt down in Washington, D.C. in Barack Obama neighborhood. So that's 2 plantations in a week as our entry into goddamn Gemini season. Another plantation burnt down yesterday in D.C. Yup. So did. 2 in a week. Two. What did I tell y'all? It wasn't yesterday. It was day 4 yesterday when I gave y'all the conspiracy. What did I tell y'all? I said, keep your eyes and your ears open because something extraordinary is going to happen this week. I said something big is going to happen this week. It might be several something bigs, but something huge is going to happen this week. Somebody emailed me today. So that's the other thing I told y'all when y'all do this ritual, make sure to search the internet for evidence that whoever it is, if anybody, if you name names, because I'm naming names, y'all can do what you see fit. I'm putting my blood on names. Okay. I'm saying people names. You feel me? And so if you do that, if you are specific, which I encourage you to do, you need to be looking for evidence that the conspiracy you cast has worked. And child, I just gave you the shit day 4 yesterday, and this sister emailed me and she was like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened. And then she was like, thank you so much. I just received evidence my shit worked. I was like, can you share the detail, please? Don't be sending me no email talking about oh my God, this is so big, this is so amazing. And then don't give up the juice. Like, give up the juice. We all need the encouragement and the confidence to know that what it is we are doing is not being done in vain. Okay. So don't be sending me no cryptic ass shit and then not share no details. I don't appreciate that. Left me on a straight up cliffhanger and shit. You feel me? Okay. So now we got a pretty good number of people up on the call. I know this was very impromptu. I'm going to be a little bit more disciplined. I've been doing a lot. I can't believe the term is over already. I have a term concert next week that I am still ill prepared for. So I'm gonna just tell you, the next few days, I'm gonna probably be in a cave, like practicing this sitar like 6 or 7 hours a day. So I don't look like a goofball playing in front of all of these people. So there's so much that I want to share with you. Like I said, I did a poll for us. Okay. I know I haven't done a tarot reading for the temple in a long time, but I felt really encouraged to do a poll for us. And that shit was so gangster. It was so gangster. That poll was so gangster. Okay. So I got to share the details of this gangster ass tarot reading I did for the temple. Like, that shit had me beside myself. It was so gangster. Yes. So let me refill my beverage because I already talked an hour. I can't believe it. Let me go ahead and refill my beverage. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Go to work all day. I can't even think because the time was late. Yes. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So, we're going to get ready to do our conspiracy. And then I'm just going to chop down the tree of smaller items that I'd wanted to talk to you about. Feel free to make donations, contributions to the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. If you want to do that, you can use the email for the temple, evoemetemp at evoemetemp at gmail.com. If you want to make a donation via Zelle or via PayPal. If you want to make a donation via Cashapp, it is $DaughterOfTheFates, just like the channel, FATES, Daughter of the Fates. Or you can do Venmo using my name, Cassandra, with two S's, Cassandra dash Floyd, Floyd. You can also use that email address if you want to inquire about divination or wellness consultation. Okay. Or if you have questions or anything like that. Okay, so I want to sing a song. I'm gonna start singing more, and yeah, I'm gonna start singing more. So this song, I didn't write it. I don't remember the name of this. There's a song it was based off of back in the day, like maybe the early 2000s, and it was like a hood classic. I don't know if it was big out here, but it was a hood classic in the South, and it was like straight hood lyrics. I don't even remember, but the sister, I was in the party at the time, and the sister who was from, where was she from? Oh, I can't even remember where she was from. She was from, I want to say she was from Ghana. She was in the party too. And so she did like a revolutionary version of the song, like for the party. And it was so ill. And I thought about it yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sing that shit on my YouTube channel. I sure am. So this goes out to Sister Naima. I don't remember her last name. It's been 14 years since I was in the party. And of course, once you leave the party, don't nobody talk to you no more. But the song was gangster, and so I'm gonna just sing it because I don't even know if it had a title. It said, "When y'all hear the melody, y'all tell me what the song is, because I'm sure you know the song. It was big for like a half a second. Go to work all day and I can't even pay my rent because it's always late. You cry democracy, but we ain't really free. Let's organize, destroy the state. And even though it seems that we're liberated, we're oppressed when we speak about the genocide. A child lays dead in the streets. And can you hear the masses say, we don't want to do this anymore? All the state does is tell us lies. Can't afford your murder anymore. 500 million Africans have died. We don't want to be colonized no more. Colonized. And then she does it again. Go to work all day and I can't even pay my rent because it's always late. You cry democracy, but we ain't really free. Let's organize, destroy the state. And even though it seems that we're liberated, we're oppressed when we speak about the genocide. A child lays dead in the streets. And can you hear the masses say, we don't want to do this anymore? All the state does is tell us lies. Can't afford your murder anymore. 500 million Africans have died. Say, we don't want to be colonized. Thank you for that, Helen Stevenson. Thank you for that. It was Rihanna. I could not remember that song to save my life. But yeah, thank you. So many great songs came out of that period of the party, man. They just lost the time. They just lost the time. Anyway, I felt like singing that. That's a jamming ass song. All right, so we're going to do this ritual. So like I was telling you guys way early in this live, I have made an addition to this. Thank you guys. Y'all are sweet. Bigging up my ego. Let me pop my invisible collar. I made an adjustment. So I will send out a mass email tomorrow with the adjustment. With the was a grammatical error in there, and then also I added some things to the. I added a few things, not a lot. So y'all just read what you have, and then I will read the. I will read the what you call it, the revised version. You feel me? Uh-huh. And yeah. Hey man. Ooh, this computer's so blank. There we go. Yeah, I'll read the revised version up over here. Okay. I already read mine this morning, but we up in here now. Okay. All right, y'all ready? We are the breakers of curses. I'm reading all the way from the top, title and everything. We are the breaker of curses, the casters of glorious conspiracies, and the creators of the new world. I, Cassandra-Floyd, am a divine instrument of my mother's divine will. As such, I am protected and guided by the sacred blood and water of my mother's body that anointed my entry into this life. I am divine because she is divine. Mommy and I are one. I call all of our mothers to this moment. I call on she who governs everything, all time and every space in between. She with 1,000 names. Today it is Oya, the usheress of the new world, of the new age. Mommy and I are one. I call upon all the divine ancestors and the Ashe of every mother on earth to break every curse ever casted upon the mother and her children in all timelines and in every dimension. Mommy and I are one. We, the mother's divine children, conspire together today to forever bind those who have or would harm you. Great mother, mommy and I are one. We conspire today to destroy everyone in every timeline and dimension that has caused suffering and despair. Mommy and I are one. Today, we embody the sacred and divine power of our mothers. Today, we the tree, we the weavers, rewrite all time. We the tree, we the weavers, rewrite the book of life. We, our mother's children, call the winds of change. We conjure the primordial dark. We summon the sacred serpent deep from within the earth. We subdue the rogue sun. We control the light. We heal the harmed. We embolden the fearful. We instill courage. Today, we are staging a global evolution, as is our mother's divine will. Mommy and I are one. We ecstatically welcome the radical destruction of all institutions of hate and harm erected by the godheads of war. Mommy and I are one. We have the power, we have the voice, we are the portals of change. We give life and sacred blood to this conspiracy. Mommy and I are one. We command, come the wind, come the storm, come the lightning, capture all godheads of war and all betrayers of the mother's divine will. Bring them and their confusion and war to an end. Scatter them to oblivion, never to be resurrected. This is the time of reckoning, reclamation, and restoration of heaven on earth under the mother's divine reign. Love unlimited is our destiny. Harmony is our destiny. Ecstasy is our destiny. Pleasure is our destiny. Freedom is our destiny. This is her divine will. We are the divine executors of her will. We speak her will into the now to reverberate through all time, all space, and all dimensions. It is as we say forever and ever, Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Woo, woo. So I will send you guys the revision tomorrow. Sometime tomorrow, I'll email that out to people. But yes, now we need to be in a group of like 100, 200, 1,000, braiding each other's hair while we speak the conspiracy, weaving big old freaking crochet weaves, blankets together. So I don't know, but just like actively creating something in real time, like putting our hands on, putting our hands all in the earth at the same time, wrapping ourselves around a tree all at the same time. Oh, we got to get it in. It's okay. So that was awesome. I got goosebumps everywhere. Now let's go ahead and knock off the list of things that I want to talk to you about before I do this reading, because I think the reading is what I'm going to end with tonight. Okay. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Okay. So so I did a reading this week. Was it, what's today? I can't believe it's Friday already. That's crazy. But anyway, I did a reading early this week, and one of the cards was so good. I was like, oh my God, I gotta read this card to the group. But then I did a pull and the card didn't come up. But the cards that did come up, I was like, oh yes, right. So anyway, I did a reading this week, and several things came out of that reading that I did want to share with the group. Ooh, I'm having deja vu so hard right now. Ooh, 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 ooh. Um, okay. So a couple of things, a few things. That is, I'm telling you, it is consistently coming up in every reading that I do in general. But when I do readings with Black women, it's like times 10. And those of you who have gotten readings with me can already vouch. You can put your hands up in the chat because you can vouch for what I'm about to say. That this period that we are in, that was a great segue, as a matter of fact, because this period that we're in, for whatever reason, I am still not clear about, but for the last year that I've been doing readings virtually, it just perpetually comes up that Black women in particular, all women, but Black women more than anyone, we have to be creating. And when I say creating, I mean taking our hands, taking what's in our brains and filtering it through our hands to construct something from nothing. And so many times, almost every time, if a Black woman is like in a reading, is articulating a very specific thing, that moment I am telling her, you need to put your hands, you need to take a pottery class. It's like my standard go-to instruction. Because y'all know, for those of you who do not know, whenever I do divination, your ass got homework. Do not call me. I'm trying to tell you, do not call me back, because the first thing I'm going to ask you is, did you do the homework for the last divination before you call me back? Because if you did not, you need to call me back after you've done your homework, at least initiated your homework. So some of your homework be deep, and so it may take a little more than a week or 2 months or whatever to get your homework done. But every time somebody actually takes the initiative to do that homework, they're like, oh my God. And I have to push sometimes. There are a couple of people who I read relatively regularly. And there was one sister I had to like really push her. She was like, no, I didn't do it. But I was like, look, I'm trying to tell you that even what you're talking to me about right now will be different. The homework from the previous reading, I promise you, will have an impact on what you have going on right this minute. Do the homework. So, I give people homework, and there are certain things that some women, a lot of women will articulate, and as soon as a specific set of words come up, I'm like, yo homework, find a pottery class. That's the first thing you're going to do, even if you only take that class one time, just one time. If you don't like it, then fine, no harm, no foul, but you've done what I said to do, and it's still going to have an impact. Take a pottery class. That is I am perpetually telling women, take a pottery class. Put your hands in the fucking mud. Take your hands and put your hands in the mud, because what is happening is like this kinesthetic relationship where what is in your brain and in your imagination is now having to make a direct connection with your hands to construct something out of seeming abstraction. And the reason I'm saying this is because so much of the work that we do as Black women, and even other women of color, but Black women a lot, is I'm gonna tell you, some of y'all gonna get mad about what I'm about to say, but this is what I do for a living, so I know. We have been manipulated so intricately and so methodically, and we have just been manipulated as a group, Black women. We have been manipulated so strategically that we think it is our own idea. We think that it is our own idea when we say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a healer, I just want to help people. Baby, I'm sorry, but no, the fuck you don't. I'm so sorry, but no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. You don't. No, you don't. You don't. You don't. No, 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 you don't. I'm gonna tell you why. For the better part of the existence of this tyrannical bitch known as the United States of America, Black women's only purpose was to serve, was to quietly, silently, invisibly serve. That's it. That's it. Was to serve and generate raw materials out of our own bodies to make a fortune for our captors. That's it. It's the only role we've played, even in the raising of our children as captives. We were not allowed to demonstrate and show love because it would be used against us. Do you understand? We were not allowed to show and demonstrate love to a partner, to a lover, hence creating cultures of jumping the broom to signal a union, a sacred union. So master didn't know what we was doing. Everything about our lives was to care for others without getting anything in return. And so when we broke loose, when we, got free, and the white world's whole perception of us as breathing beings on the planet, because we weren't human. We were just breathing beings on the planet whose sole purpose for existing was to silently and invisibly serve. To silently and invisibly serve. That's it. When we break loose and their whole worldview, their whole life from infants, from birth to death, was in this direct antagonistically imposing relationship between they and us, Black women, between they and us, and that shit is over after 300 years of being able to have and maintain this relationship as wealth generators, both through our manual labor and through the labor of our children that did not belong to us, and the portal for which they could dump their aggressions into, and then the nurturers and breastfeeders for their offspring. That's it. And so when that relationship is cut off hard, now you can leave the plantation. Do you think that they just accepted that? Do you think that when we got off the plantation, they just accepted, okay, well, we gotta All that we was getting from black women's bodies for free. Now we got to figure out how we gonna adjust. How we gonna adjust to having people who are our caretakers, our nurses, our midwives, our root healers, our what you call our robots, our blow up dolls that ain't gonna talk back when we aggress against them. You feel me? What we gonna do now? What we gonna do now? Do you think that's what they did? No, they had to be a lot more strategic about how they won us back into a perpetual state of goddamn servitude to them. So now it can't be outright brute force and shit, because that shit don't work. So now they got to woo us. They have to woo us. So whether it's through, pay, which is still pennies on the dollar, even if your ass is a nurse practitioner and you making, 70. Girl, don't try me. Don't be looking at me crazy. Get down. Even if even if your ass is a nurse practitioner and you making $175,000 a year, you feel me? Do you think you are getting paid the value of your labor? Really? Do you really think that? Compared to what has been taken from you, compared to, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? They said on NPR, the value of every human being at birth is $8.1 million. So you think your little $175,000 is really what you worth? That is not even compensating for the fact that you and your kind, black ass women generating actual wealth out of our bodies, have not been paid for fucking 400 years in the United States of America. Do you really think you are receiving from this world what you deserve, what you are owed? Do you really? And so that's the trap. In Florida, the trap was because they call Florida the elephant burial ground, because all these white people from the Northeast and from Canada, we call them snowbirds, come down to travel with the seasons. When it's freezing up where they at, they come to the South for several months. They, stay in little communities and stuff, and then they go back up north when it's warm up where they at, right? And so the whole economy in Florida is based around, quote, snowbird seasons, right? And so they call it the elephant burial grounds, because once those snowbirds actually completely retire, typically a lot of them, because they're up in their geriatric years, typically a lot of them will sell their homes or whatever, move to Florida, and hell, gain another 10, 15 years just from access to the sun. You feel me? And so all of the industries are built up around this population that comes from the Northeast and posts up in it's the second largest retirement state in the country, right? And so one of the main jobs that are given to young black people who may not have done well, and I feel like it's a setup, only one in three black children who enter the school system in Florida at kindergarten, for only 1 out of every 3 black kids that enter the school system at kindergarten, only 1 in 3 of them will graduate high school. Another third will walk with worthless certificates of attendance that will not allow them to go to college. And another third typically drop out between the 8th and 10th grade. 1 in every 3 black kids graduate high school in Florida. So what they gonna do if they don't graduate high school? Well, guess what? You got all these white people you can take care of. You can still become a CNA without a high school diploma. It's one of the biggest jobs in Florida, is to become a certified nursing assistant or an orderly, which is typically more young black males will go to be orderlies, and there's young sisters that'll go to become CNAs. You understand? And all they got to do is take a little 6-week course, get their GED, and they will be able to, that's the draw, right? Is a decent pay in a state that still pays fucking minimum wage. The minimum wage is $7.25, $7.50 an hour. And so in a state that still pays minimum wage, you hope to get one of these, quote, good jobs. One of these good jobs. What a good job means is you're going to work like a slave And unlike your partner who might make $7.25 an hour, you get to make $12 an hour, or you get to make $13 an hour. They will even pay these young people, they will pay for their education to become CNAs or orderlies. So it seems like a good deal. It's a setup. It's a setup. There's so many women of color and people of color in these low-paying, high high energetic output, high intensity jobs, working 12-hour swing shifts or 16-hour swing shifts, working literally like slaves. But because they make more than they could with their education, you know what I'm saying? This is what they have. This is the only option that they have, is to go into the healthcare field, the medicine, taking care of old people. And of course, 90% of the old people that are in nursing homes and shit like that are white, because a lot of our families can't afford it or take care of our people in them at home or whatever. You feel me? And so I'd easily say, I'm not even exaggerating, I'll easily say that of the people that I've read over the last year, since I've been doing this virtually, when I'm saying I'm not exaggerating, easily 85% of them are in health or wellness in some way. Primarily, I can't believe how many RNs I've read. I can't believe how many RNs I've read. I can't even be surprised by it no more. Every time I ask what your job is and I hear RN, I'm like, God damn, I can't believe how many RNs I've read over the last year. And I tell you, all these women that be calling me, ain't now one of them ever asked about a man. Never. Is love coming? Is love? I ain't never had nobody. Not once. Not once. Oh no, one time, and that was her last question. And she said, I just want to ask about this dude. You know, he really feeling me, and he be stepping to me. We work together, whatever. I was like, so what's the problem? Well, you know, he is in a relationship. I said, then that's your answer. That ain't no shit you need to ask a psychic or a diviner or no shit. You already got your answer. What the fuck why you ask me that question? She's like, what you mean? I said, just what the hell I said. Why the fuck you asked me that question? I said, we just had this great ass reading, and off on the tail end, you want to ask me about some nigga who already got a woman? Well, he say, you know, he a polygamist. I said, he lying. I said, he a liar. He ain't no polygamist, girl. She's like, what you mean he ain't no polygamist? I said, because if he was a real polygamist, he wouldn't have been stepping to you. It would have been his woman. He would have talked to her before he even said hello to you. He would have talked to his woman, and she would have called you and been like, yo, you understand? We've been looking for a partner. My husband say we need to meet. You and I need to hang out, talk to each other, and then the three of us can talk to each other together or whatever the fuck. So he lying. He married. He telling you he a polygamist. You ain't even seen his wife's face. Nope, he lying. So you already got your answer. Well, you know, I mean, of course, I haven't heard back from this sister. But you know what? When I tell you, you ain't gonna have me out here on no bullshit. Honey, I will get the money from somewhere else. But that is not no bullshit. You gonna have me. No, I'm not pulling. I told her, no, I'm not pulling no card for that bullshit. No, I'm not. And I'm trying to put you on game, babe, is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save your ass. You are middle-aged already. You 40 years old, baby. No, that is not no shit you need to be tangled up in. I'm trying to tell you, based on the culture and based on the history, which I still think is bogus ass bullshit. That's my side note. But if he was serious, if he was about that life, the first thing he would have done is call home and say, look, we've been talking about, you know, bringing a sister wife into the relationship. I met this sister at work, la, 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 la. I want y'all to go have coffee together or whatever, and y'all talk, and then you tell me what you think. None of these niggas talking about polygamy is about that life. That's just my personal opinion. Y'all grown, y'all do what y'all want to do. But at the point that you ask me what you should do, my answer is always gonna be hell no. First of all, biatch, you better than that. You better than him. You better than that. You don't need to be no nigga side wife, no nigga second wife, no nigga goddamn sister wife, or none of that bullshit. That's my personal opinion. And niggas always be using folk goddamn culture and character and tradition and history to wrangle y'all lonely ass selves up into some bullshit. You feel me? And he always is in the center of that relationship. Always. And bet you better than that. You got it. Your ass is God. Your ass is walking around with a goddamn live active portal in your body, and you just have not learned how to tap in to draw to you what matches your energy. Who matches your energy. And what I mean by matches your energy is knows how to behave in the presence and face of fucking God. That's what I mean. Anything less is unacceptable. So if you get a reading from me and you asking about some dude, I'm gonna give it to you blood raw. Fortunately, that ain't what none of y'all want from me, and I appreciate that. I tell you, she is the only person in almost a year and a half now that has asked me about a man. The only one. The only one. You understand? And I told y'all the story of my ex-husband when he came to me with that bullshit. I was so calm. I was creepy calm. I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. I think you're right. He's like, for real? I said, yeah, I think you're right. I think you do need another wife. I do. I think you need another wife. Actually, I think you might need, I think it might take two. I think it might take two more. He's like, damn, are you, now you just being funny. I said, no, I'm being deadly serious. As serious as you is asking me, that's as serious as I'm being. I think it might take two. You feel me? He's like, damn, I ain't expect that. I said, I know. I said, so you make up your mind, you understand what you looking for, whatever, and you do what you feel like you need to do. You feel like you do what you feel like you need to do. He was like, damn, that's so progressive, Cassandra. I said, I know. I said, so this is what's gonna happen, okay? He was on the road at the time. I said, this is what's gonna happen, okay? He's like, okay, what? I said, so I'm gonna go probably this week, and I'm gonna have our divorce papers drawn up. And all I need is for you to sign our divorce papers, and you can take off on a mission to find yourself some sister wives. I was that calm, that shrewd, that fucking blade like. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Your ass broke, ain't got shit talking about you need a sister wife. Fuck you. Your ass ain't working. I'm the only one working. Take care of our kids, and you talking about you need a sister wife. Child, please. That's a come up for them, because women have always been currency for men. Currency. That's all. That's it. Is bargaining chips between men. Whether it's a dad giving his daughter away with a dowry or what, we have always, we ain't been no different than cattle, fucking goats and sheep and shit. You feel me? And then carrying niggas' babies, you know, to secure them some wealth or some shit. Nope. To secure them some prowess, to prove in the world how far and wide they can sow seed. Ugh. Nah. So anyway, I don't know how I got on that. I told y'all to keep me disciplined. Anyway, so how did I get on that? Yes, that's why. So the what I was saying all initially is that one, that's how I got on it. That's how I got on the readings and everything, was because you need to create some shit. You need to create something. You need to create something. And the reason I got on that whole diatribe is because one, every woman that calls me and tells me that they're trying to change their job, and I'm like, what do you want to do? And they're like, I want to be a healer. I want to be a healer. I want to be a No, stop it. Stop it. Stop. And I can tell y'all that because I've been doing this shit for 20 years. Now, it's a catch-22 because, again, the conditioning is so deep. It's everywhere. The writing, the scripting, everything is telling Black women, just serve, just serve, just serve, just do for others, just help people, just do for others, just serve. And every woman you see in an area of service is completely obliterated, exhausted, can't figure out what's wrong with them, plagued by guilt, because we have been collectively, perpetually, unendingly told that the only value that we have in society is in proximity to others and what we do for them at our expense. And so here, I've been telling y'all for 2 years, I'm plotting the days till I'm no longer putting my hands on humans. I will be able to help people, I think, more effectively when anyway, don't do it. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for the trap. The reason I always ask y'all when y'all get a reading from me, the very first thing that I ask you is, when you were a child, before your childhood was jaded, what did you want to be when you grow up? When you were a teenager learning things, what did you want to be when you grow up, until some grown up shattered your goddamn dreams about what you could be? Did you want to be an astronaut? Did you want to be a fireman? I want to be that thing that you were excited about as a child before you learned to fear the world? What did you want to be in your wildest self, in your wildest dreams? What did you want to be? Right? And I'm telling you, that question seems simple. I have had 60-year-old women weep when I've asked them that question. Literally cry full on tears. We have been robbed of our desires. We have been robbed of our fucking dreams. I remember I was clear about what I wanted to do, and it was random, and I knew all 3 of these things that I wanted to do, I was going to do. Until my mother started telling me, you just need to be realistic. You need to go to nursing school. Do you hear what I'm telling you? I was like, I ain't going to no damn nursing school. This was the source of great contention for us. This was the source of great contention for us. Because I'm not going to nursing school. Fuck that. That was my attitude. Fuck that. Fuck that. You understand? All these skills that I had so many skills as a teenager, as a young person. I was an extraordinary writer. As a teenager. You understand? So many of my books my mother threw away. So much of my art my mother threw away. I'll tell you, I love my mama. And it's not even a catch-22. I love my mother. But my mama's conditioning is deep as fuck, y'all. And sometimes I forget how deep it is. My mother sent me a picture, a text on Monday. I'm going to have to show y'all the text. I'm going to post it in the post tomorrow. My mother sent me a picture in a text Monday that she thought, quote, would be funny. She's like, well, I thought you'd get a little chuckle out of this. And the picture is of this like cartoon character that just looks like like a misshapen pickle or something. Just this weird green cartoon character facing itself in the mirror. And in the bubble overhead, and this character talking to itself, it says, what did it say? I'm not bad fat, I'm good fat. My mama sent me that. And I sat there and looked at that picture. My mama sent me that. And just for context, my mother's not fat. My mother's not overweight at all. So I was like, why would she send me this shit? She said, I thought you'd get a chuckle out of this. I was like, well, that's not, I sent her text back. I said, that's nothing I say to myself. I said, as a matter of fact, I told her, I said, I don't call myself fat. I don't say that kind of shit to myself. I said, what I say every morning is, how am I going to constructively use my stored up energy today? The fuck? That shit fucking blew me away. And I didn't think it would have the impact on me that it had, because for the longest time, I had to like walk myself. I had to walk myself back for a lot of goddamn years from, quote, blaming my mother why I had always been overweight. I was 10 years old, 10, trying on, like we little girls, try on your mama's dresses and shit. But my mother had been anorexic. And so I'm 10 years old trying on my mother's dress and I could not fit it. And that memory is so clearly ingrained in my consciousness, is like a seed moment at 10 years old of how I became so obsessed for the majority of my life with my weight. At 10, 11, 12, watching my mother work out like a crazy person while being clearly anorexic, eating slivers of cheese and crackers, and that's all she would eat all day. Crazy shit like that. And this being woven into my consciousness as a little girl, that my grown up mother, I could not fit her clothes at 10 years old. And I wasn't even chubby back at that point, at that moment. But clearly looking back and saying, God damn, was this the seed moment of how my weight became this perpetual thing in my goddamn brain every single solitary day of my life? Until relatively recently, where I was like, you know what? First of all, I'm never going to be a Coke bottle figure. I'm never going to be a stick figure. I happen to like my ass. Yes, there is a little that I would like to do with my belly, but I do not plague myself and my consciousness with some opposition about my body. As a matter of fact, years ago, I started saying about my mama, about my relationship to my mother, about recognizing that my mother is the first God for me on earth, saying that there is no way that I can love my mother and hate my body. I'm so grateful for the body that I chose for this mission. I'm so grateful for the body that I chose for this life. I am so grateful for the absolute perfect personification that is me in this moment, because my mother ordained my life. My mother ordained my flesh. And I cannot say that I love my mother and hate her creation, my body, my flesh. This was my mantra every day for years, trying to reconcile this thing that existed between my mom and myself, because I'm telling you, it's so deep, you guys, that my mom and my stepdad, and I was always aware of it as a teenager, man. My parents, my stepdad was a professional bodybuilder. My mother was a professional bodybuilder. And them like buying me workout equipment as a teenager, 13, 14, 15 years old, right? Like my weight, being them internalizing, even as a fucking adult who had not lived with them since I was 17, even as an adult, feeling it without them having to say a word, that somehow my weight was a reflection of some failure of theirs. My mother putting me in Weight Watchers at fucking 14 and 15 years old. You understand what I'm saying? So that shit was deep for me for a long goddamn time. And so it's never come up as an issue for years. And then all of a sudden, out the blue, my mom ain't said nothing about my weight in many, many years. Not even sideways. You feel me? And just out the blue, child, she sends me this text of this little weird fucking creature looking at itself in the mirror talking about, I'm not bad fat, I'm good fat. Child, that shit did me on Monday. I said, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck, y'all? That shit did me. And I was mad, but my feelings were hurt too. Like, damn, is this how she sees me? Because my mother is not fat at all, has never been. She's always been obsessed with her weight, but my mother has never been fat. My mother has never been more than 20 pounds overweight. Ever. Never. You feel me? That shit did me. That shit fucking did me. That shit did me. Anyway, I don't know how I got on that. I don't know how I got on that. But all I was saying was, yeah. So I'm gonna tell you, I know it's hard to hear because the conditioning has been so consistent and so deep. Honey, think about what if quote working in the healing arts, because I'm telling you, even this alternative medicine thing that's happening where that's like everybody's soapbox and we want to get into like natural healing and we want to baby, just like I tell you with your spiritual circles, the state is up in all your shit. The state is all up in your shit. There ain't no shit that you can be involved in where the state is not involved and has not manipulated the narrative that exists in these spaces. I am trying to tell you, not because it's my opinion, because I see every fucking thing. I've existed in all of these spaces. I see every fucking thing. I've worked in emergency rooms. I've worked in fertility clinics. I've gone to medical school for 10 years, 4 different schools, 4 different degrees. The state is all up in your shit. That's why I be doing the deep dives on every single solitary, seemingly insignificant detail, because it's all hijacked. It's all hijacked. That's why I tell you about that bullshitting ass Hamza at the beginning of the shit. I'm like, throw that shit in the garbage. Throw that shit in the trash. If you got it anywhere in your house, your cute little blue Hamza, put it in the garbage can. As a matter of fact, do a ritual to bind that bitch, purge your crib, and bury that shit in the goddamn ground somewhere. You feel me? Put that shit in the garbage. All your shit been hijacked. You feel me? You gonna have, I hope y'all hear what I'm saying, because I've been telling y'all for a long time. We're gonna have to create whole new culture, whole new definitions, whole new language, whole new spirituality and spiritual understanding. We are going to have to create something radically new, not a reproduction of, not a revisiting of. Now, I will tell you, the traditions of your ancestors, you feel me? The other people traditions that you find interesting and shit, that is a great starting place. Why? Because I'm telling you, the divination, right? The casting of Ifa, right? What else? The Dafa, you feel me? Whatever. Those things are helpful. Do not allow them to become a crutch, child. That should lead me right into our reading, because the reading addresses that very fucking thing. Do not let these spiritual talismans and amulets and charms become so vital to your practice that you forget that you are the talisman, bitch. You are the charm. You are the oracle. You are the wand. You are the staff. You are the shield. These are metaphors for who you are, these instruments. These instruments are metaphors for what you already are. They help to develop a practice. The practice is not just cause this what you're supposed to do if you believe XYZ. The practice is to get your cellular DNA to remember what is familiar. These instruments, the altar or the shrine, these trinkets, I just bought myself. Let me show y'all what I bought myself, which is so radical. My little black obsidian scrying mirror. You feel me? Because I'm always telling y'all, before y'all call me with an attitude about some shit I said, for y'all come up in my inbox or my email with some bullshit you mad because I said. You feel me? What I'm always telling y'all, before y'all call, being reactionary, take your ass a handful of mushrooms and take and look at yourself in your motherfucking bathroom mirror and ask yourself first, why was I so triggered by what that black woman said? Like she said it directly to me. Like she in my house in my face telling me this thing. Why was I so responsive? Why was I so reactive? Is there something? Look at yourself in the mirror while you asking yourself this. Is this something that I need to lead further into? Is that why I'm triggered? Is this something that I need to sit with my ancestors with before I respond? Because if you ain't did that, I ain't trying to hear shit you talking about. I ain't trying to hear a motherfucking thing. I don't care about your opinion or your feelings about something I done said. Okay? Now, that's the one thing y'all can trust from me is I'm going to always keep it blood raw. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to always keep it blood raw. Okay? We grown folks up in here. We got a goddamn world to change. And I ain't trying to tiptoe around nobody's feelings. If your feelings is that tender and that raw, you need to be the fuck somewhere else. That's a word. So it's all fingerprinty. I haven't cleaned it off, but that's my little, my little scrying mirror. I've been wanting an obsidian scrying mirror for forever, and I finally got me one. You feel me? These instruments are very helpful to get you reacquainted with yourself, to get you reacquainted with your flesh and how it feels when the instrument that you are focusing on or through triggers a full body response. So when I'm telling you to trust your flesh all the time, right? I'm always saying, trust your flesh first. Trust your flesh first. You feel me? Then you can incorporate your consciousness and what you think you know later. But if you leading with that, you're missing the boat. If you leading with your consciousness, if you leaning with what you think you know, you leading from your place of conditioning. I'm trying to give you a word. Because your quote intelligence is not greater than your flesh. Your quote spirit is not greater than your flesh. You understand? How many years of education you got is not smarter than your natural born instinct that exists for the sole purpose of preserving your existence on the planet to the most ecstatic that you can experience it. Those two things, to preserve your life and to preserve it in a state of ecstasy. I'm trying to tell you because I've just watched this motherfucking scientist today saying, the problem is, I'm going to use the metaphor of a lobster. I don't like scientists anymore because they lead in all spaces with their conditioning. What is their conditioning? White male supremacy. It don't matter what the fuck they studying. White male supremacy is always going to enter the goddamn study somehow. As the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, I'm just putting y'all on blast. I'm putting y'all on deck right this minute. As soon as the temple is built to the gravity and magnitude that I want it built, we're going to have a whole goddamn radical ass research team. And what we are going to do as an ongoing project is create new studies. You understand? But we are going to what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to reinitiate various studies that I've read over the years. And I was like, that study and the outcome of that study would be different if it was led by Black scientists. I am 1,000% certain. Or if the participants in the study were Black or working class or Black middle class. Why they conduct that study like that? Why they did that like that? You understand what I'm saying? I read so many studies where I am 1,000% certain that if it was not led by a hyper intellectual white male supremacist fucking worldview, the outcome of the study would have been a million times different. I can name the studies one by one. As soon as we get this shit popping, we doing that study over. We doing that study over. The Stanford experience, we do the Stanford experiments. We doing that bullshit over. We doing the Milgram experiment over. I can continue running the studies down the line that we will reproduce to show that white male supremacy is a toxic ideology that impacts and infects everything on the planet like a goddamn cancerous tumor that's got tentacles in a million different directions. Okay? So, that being said, If you are a woman of color, I understand that you feel a deep conviction. I get it. But I just promise you, after having been in all of these spaces and seen every aspect of it from the lowest to the quote most, auspicious, if you're a doctor or whatever, um, it is a setup. It is a trap. It is a continuation in a much more insidious way and using a much more insidious language to trap you into cycles of fucking servitude to others. I promise it is. I get it. There are a lot of unwell people, sick, unhappy, miserable people, and we need healers right now. But that's why I keep bringing it up. One of the things that I ask myself personally in the world that I envision in my mind's eye, clear as day, in a world made well, will the world need 1 out of 10 motherfuckers to be a healer? Nope. Will I be willing to give up my title as a doctor or as a healer or whatever when the world is made well? What will my occupation be in a world made well? What is a world made well? Where people have everything that they need because it already goddamn exists, being held hostage in the pockets of a minuscule few. Everything the whole planet needs, not to survive, to thrive, to flourish, to experience happiness and bliss and pleasure, already exists in real time. We've been robbed. We continue being robbed. We stay being robbed. When you can hear a goddamn report coming out of the World Health Organization saying that the 2 richest billionaires on earth could solve global starvation and still have more money than their descendants could spend in 100 years, and still 2 could solve global hunger for forever, and their descendants for 100 years could still not spend all the money they would have left. But because we get stuck on this bullshit, the motherfucker just got to be smart. All we got to do is put the label of genius in front of a motherfucking name, and whatever opulence whatever wealth he has goddamn stolen from the many, it's like, oh well, he has that much money because he must be doing something right. He must be super smart for him to have all that kind of money. You feel me? We still believe that. This shit blows my mind that we still believe that people deserve to be so opulent that their collective wealth is almost exactly equal to the collective poverty of the many. And you think they just earned the shit. They just earned the shit, honestly, because they just brilliant, genius white men. That I can show y'all a map of the United States on one of the thumbnails I put up on here. When I think it was the live was called Everything Wrong with Your Life is Because Billionaires Exist. I mean that shit unflinchingly. Everything wrong on earth, everything wrong in your life. You and your baby daddy can't get along, it's because billionaires exist. You understand what I'm saying? Shit. You feel me? Your ass hate your boss is because billionaires exist. You ain't got enough money to get your motherfucking car fixed is because billionaires exist. You understand? Your hair falling out and you can't figure out why, though all the tests come back, there ain't nothing wrong. It's because billionaires exist. Mm-hmm. You understand? You got fucking fibroids in your uterus is because billionaires exist. You feel me? Yo, we got to get these goddamn temple committees popping already. Okay. Yes, out of Sally, we need bumper stickers. Need a motherfucking t-shirt. You feel me? Shit. Prisons exist because billionaires exist. There are 2.5 million human beings locked up in the United States, and we ain't even got a billion motherfuckers. We ain't even got half a billion motherfuckers in the United States. We still at 300 plus million motherfuckers in the United States. There's 2.5 million motherfuckers in the United States that are in prison. Some the fuck where. You feel me? Fast forward, you go to the 3 countries, not continents, 3 countries that got way more people. India got 2.5 billion people. China got 2 billion people. And China is the next highest incarceration rate, and they ass ain't even broke a million. I think it's like, ooh, I forget the latest statistic for China. Somebody Google that real shit. How many people in fucking prison in China? But I know it ain't even 500,000. It ain't even 500,000. They got 2 billion, 2.5, 2.1, 2.5 billion people in China. They ain't even got a million motherfuckers in prison. We got 330 million people in the United States, and 2.5 million of them in a prison. And of the women in prison, the great majority, okay, so they got 1.7 million people. Okay, cool. Still, they got 3 billion motherfuckers in their goddamn good. What is it? I think it's 2.5 billion. 2.5 billion in China. Billion. We got 330 something million. And we got the largest incarcerated population on Earth, on the planet. On the planet. It's because billionaires exist. It's because billionaires exist. I can go deeper. Your ass got high blood pressure, not because it's hereditary, bitch. Not because your grandmama had high blood pressure or your granddaddy had high blood pressure. You have high blood pressure because fucking billionaires exist, bitch. Your ass got diabetes because billionaires exist. Your ass got high blood pressure because billionaires exist. Your ass got motherfucking cancer because billionaires exist. I sent y'all, a lot of y'all, a video today because I told y'all about it 2 weeks ago. I was like, damn, the algorithm is crazy. These motherfuckers really be listening to y'all phones, because I literally just did a live about the history of J.D. Rockefeller creating what we know as Western medicine, creating the institution of, quote, allopathic medicine as a political campaign, And so he is the founder. J.D. Rockefeller founded the American Medical Association. I just told y'all that 2 weeks ago. I'll be goddamn if right on my feed there wasn't this professor at some university somewhere teaching the whole history of J.D. Rockefeller and how he created Western medicine because he couldn't maintain the monopoly on Standard Oil Company. The United States said you can't monopolize oil, so we're gonna split that shit up into independent companies. He was like, that's all right. I still got the patent on petroleum. I'm gonna just figure out multiple ways I can use petroleum in pharmaceutical medicine and take over the medical industry. He said, but best believe before it's all said and done, I'm bankrupting this whole shit. And that was his whole mission, was to bankrupt the United States. I just told y'all that 2 weeks ago. There ain't no institution that is not impacted and infected with this fucking madness. Why? Because billionaires exist. You understand what I'm saying? Billionaires exist. God damn it. You feel me? So for example, I told y'all at the top of this thing, two slave plantations burnt to the ground this week, right? One yesterday and one like at the end of last week. 2 slave plantations burnt down this week in our entry into the Gemini season. That shit got me so hyped. That shit got me hyped. I'm like, come on through, mother. Can you just make this shit plain already? Make it plain. Make it undeniable and unmistakable. Bring it on. You feel me? So anyway, I'm talking about this shit. And damn, I lost my thought just that quick. Talking about these 2 slave plantations. Oh, and what I was gonna say is all these white people call themselves mad because black people hype about plantations burning to the ground. It's racist what black people are saying about these valued historic land sites. It's really racist, right? White people been lamenting all week, all up in their sentimental feels about these plantations burning to the ground. Let me tell you something that happened. One of these videos I saw this brother doing, and he had video footage of a tour from somebody sent him the video footage of a tour that they had taken in the first plantation. What is it, Nottington or whatever it is in Parish, Louisiana, which is where my people are from, by the way. And I guess they like had the camera recording the tour guide, and but like kind of secretly recording the tour guide. This little white girl, white woman, young, like maybe 30-ish. And so I went off on the diatribe. I think it was Wednesday. What's today? Thursday. I think it was Tuesday night. I was going off pretty hard on white people because I was just going off because I was in my feelings about white people on Tuesday. I was like, enough is goddamn enough with y'all motherfuckers already. Okay. So I think I'm cool now. My blood pressure done got down a little bit after I done got it off my chest. You feel me? And then I see this goddamn video yesterday, man. And this brother is recording this white woman walking people through the plantation, mansion or whatever. And baby, this girl said, the really good thing about this specific landholder, this little landowner, that's what they called him, landowner, the man who owned, I think they said 131 Black people and several of the families he had been holding on to for 3 generations. They family had owned the other family for 3 generations of people. That landholder, that's what she kept calling him, a landowner or landholder or whatever. She was like, well, he was known. He was well known in the area to be like one of the kindest, slave owners in the area. Like he even let some of the Black women learn how to be nurses. Even when he went to buy new slaves, he wouldn't just buy one. If the slave had a family, like a wife and children, he would buy the whole family so that they could stay together and not be broken up. And he built some of the bigger slave quarters so that people weren't having to sleep 2 or 3 families in each quarter, that a whole family could have their own space. So, I mean, as bad as slavery, sounds, he still, was one of the better ones. And as a matter of fact, there are still people who work the land here who are the descendants of slaves he owned. That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said. So when people start acting brand new, acting like simpletons, acting like I really didn't know, that type of shit, she really said that, y'all, with a straight face. She really said that. And all these white people they interview, and of course they always gonna find the Negro that's gonna be like, it sure is a shame that place burnt down like that, because I heard there was a whole lot of real pretty weddings and stuff. They always, how the news just always conveniently find the one Negro that's gonna shame the group with some dumbass shit. How they do that? Every place, everywhere. Remember I was telling y'all about the inaugural thing for the goddamn Pope? Y'all all think a Negro? And they found in goddamn Italy, in Vatican City, they found the one dark-skinned negress with braids braided all the way down to her belly button, talking about, I'm not even Catholic, but I came all the way from Chicago for this historic event. I'm through with y'all, man. I'm so through with okay, and then let me tell you one more thing. I wasn't talking about none of this, but let me tell you anyway. So I sent this to a lot of y'all too. I saw this video. It was a TV show, but in the TV show it was like a court show or whatever. The woman is on the stand as a professional witness. They don't say what the issue is, but she's a professional witness and she works, think it like the Smithsonian. Okay, so the attorney that's examining her asks her, about education. And the other lawyer was like, she works at the Smithsonian. She don't know nothing about that. And she was like, as a matter of fact, the Smithsonian has conducted a series of surveys and studies about the decline of American intellect, like general educational knowledge, like basic knowledge, like base level knowledge, right? But apparently these were based on real statistics, y'all. And the woman who worked at the goddamn Smithsonian was sitting there on the brink of tears. She said, can you tell us, in short, what the results of these surveys and studies were that the Smithsonian conducted? And the subject was specifically geology, or geography, not geology, geography, right? She said, and she read off these statistics. I don't remember. I would be lying if I say that I did, but I remember they were horrifying. She said that I think it was like 59% of high school graduates that they surveyed could not identify New York State on a map of the United States, could not identify the United States of America on a world map, could not identify the fucking Pacific Ocean. I said, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. These are the people that are electing your presidents. The United States of America. I haven't looked in a long time. I used to have these stats on the top of my head because I was an educator. But the United States of America has one of the Western Hemisphere, has one of the worst literacy rates in the Western Hemisphere. Oh, remember I was telling you them stats about Florida, how only one out of every 3 children that enter the Florida school system, only one will graduate out of 3. 1/3 will drop out, and 1/3 will walk with certificates of attendance. Superimpose that on the United States. I think it's something like only 2/3 of American. Only 2/3, I think it's worse than that. Only 2/3, no, it's about that. 2/3 of Americans, it's like 33% of Americans are not literate. Do you know what literate means? It means 1/3 of people living in the United States of America cannot read. That's what it means when somebody says you're illiterate. It means you cannot read. A third, 33%, the last time I looked, which was some time ago, so them stats might have changed. 1/3 of human beings that live in the United States of America cannot read at all. 1/3. You feel me? The stats about reading are horrifying. That only 12% of people who graduate high school, only 12% of people who graduate high school in the United States of America will read one more book for the rest of their life after they finish high school. 12% will read after high school, like a book from cover to cover. 12%. College graduates don't read afterwards either. It's about the same for college graduates. After they graduate college, they don't pick up no book and read no more. The numbers for reading after high school are terrifying, stupefying, unbelievable. 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 You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know why I got on that. Oh, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. All right. So the reason I got on that is because greetings, Sage, Page, Java Watson, everybody. Okay. Empress, Tracy, Araceli, and whoever else. I don't know if Knowledge Born is still on there. Onye Bacalao. That's a beautiful name. I hope I didn't butcher it. Onye. Anye Bacalao, the Plant Pharma, London Girl 44, BJ Joker's Wild, Team over Medita, two with Nadine. That's a hella name. Misha, Leanne, Divinity, Amoir 777, Vol, Zapal, Zeph Spot, Tazi, Sky's the Limit, Guan Hong Goddess, Gladys Brown. Child, I was all up in the joint. Knowledge born Allah. All right. So yes, Adeseli, she say people are stupid because billionaires exist. Yes. Come on in with the propaganda. We got plenty of material for t-shirts. We got a whole line. We already got a whole line of t-shirts we need to be blowing out, y'all. God damn, yes. People are stupid because billionaires exist. Yes. 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 What y'all talking about? Oh, Rachel says she wore a hamsa one time and the hand kept falling off for some reason. Listen, that was spirit trying to protect you, girl. Okay. Okay. Um yes, yes, yes. Oh yes, the wreckage of the patriotic museums. I forgot to mention that. Thank you very much, Java Watson. Yes, a big ass, giant ass tree fell in a goddamn destroyed. They over there lamenting, talking about we gotta create a GoFundMe because even though the building was insured, the destruction was so bad that the insurance ain't gonna cover the reconstruction of the building because a tree fell all the way on top, splat on top of the goddamn what is it called? The goddamn southern. It's the motherfuckers in North Carolina that be doing the Civil War reenactment every year, but they tell your black ass forget about the past, but they reenact a goddamn Civil War they fucking lost every year. Ain't that about a bitch? Ain't that about a bitch? They lost the goddamn war and reenact the war every year, but tell your black ass, oh, slavery was such a long time ago. Why you keep talking about that? So anyway, um, that's what I mean. And I say take responsibility for all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been really diligent. I feel like we've been really diligent. The other thing I've been telling y'all, let me not get off. Not get off. I'm gonna come back to that. But the reason I keep talking about all these things, the education, how people stupid, billionaires exist. Stop doing work like service work, women. If you can, think about what your if you can't quit your job, okay? Because I will never tell somebody to quit their job. If you cannot quit your job, fine. But you have to diligently incorporate into your existence something that you do that is exclusively yours for the for the sole purpose of infusing passion into your life, infusing pleasure into your life, infusing ecstasy into your life. You feel me? So that you get accustomed to feeling the difference between how your flesh feels when you are embodied in some shit that you are doing just for the sheer ecstasy of it, just for the sheer pleasure of it, just for the sheer, ooh, that shit gave me goosebumps of it, right? And how you feel when you take your ass to that goddamn job. And then start thinking about this action becomes the thing that starts helping you to plot, plan, and scheme and strategize on how you can create more of this and less of this in a way that you can make some money doing more of this and less of this. Uh, Save Our Trees says, Cassandra, do you know anything about the land that the Vatican was built on? So in this book that we read, I think it's now 2 summers ago, the first prophetesses of Mami Wata Sibyls, the first prophetesses of Mami Wata and the theft of African prophecy by the Roman Catholic Church. Let's see if I can get to it very quick. She says that she talks about it pretty extensively. In the very beginning, she talks about what the word Vatican actually means. The word Vatican actually means divining serpent, derived from vatus, which means diviner, and can, which means serpent. Vatican City and St. Peter's Basilica were, here it is, right on the first page. Vatican City and St. Peter's Basilica were built on the ancient pagan site called in Latin Vaticanus Mons or Vaticanus Coli, which means hill or mountain of prophecy. And then she talks about the Hebrew definition of Vatican, which is or Vatic or Vatis or Vates, a seer, prophet, soothsayer, diviner, or divination. Soothsayer is to act covertly, to use hidden arts, i.e., magic, to practice sorceries or mysteries. And diviner means witchcraft, tells fortunes, fortune teller, bewitch, to consult the spirit of the dead, or to practice magic. There it is, right on the first page. And then it says, I know, child. I know Claudia Ankra. Claudia Ankra said the snake in Harry Potter was the basilisk. The basilisk. Could that be a thing? It absolutely could. It absolutely could. So when we read about in, I think it's this book. Let me just see really quick. I think the basilisk is in this book, the Women's Dictionary of Secrets and Symbols and Sacred Objects. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But she talks about the history of the basilisk here. And I'm telling you, when I started getting into these books, I had y'all, as a matter of fact, I just told y'all this recently, maybe a month ago, less than a month ago, because somebody came up in my comment section was talking about, I hate Harry Potter. I would never watch that shit. La 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 la. I was like, to each his own. But for a woman who does movie reviews called Watching Between the Lines, and I'm trying to see everything, especially the shit that I missed when I didn't know no better, I went back and crack watched every single solitary Harry Potter from beginning to end. The very first one is called what? The Sorcerer's Stone. The very first one is called The Sorcerer's Stone. The second one is called The Chamber of Secrets, that held a basilisk controlled by the House of Slytherin. Child. Yeah, Save Our Trees. That's what several people have said. That's what she was alluding to when she said that it used to be a mountain of but I talked about that for a long time too, a couple months ago, because the Vatican, she says the Vatican was the site of was this an ancient pagan site called Vaticanus Mons or Vaticanus Coli, which means mountain of prophecy. But that wasn't just the Vatican. That after the Roman Catholic Church was created, that was part of their process, was to go all over Europe in the beginning. And then they did it in other places, because I've talked about it. They did it in Brazil, where that big old Jesus shit is in Brazil. That was a sacred mountain of the indigenous people that actually translated to something like the mountain of ecstasy in the indigenous language. And so they was like, we're going to put our Jesus up on top of their most sacred shit. But they did that in Europe well before they came to the Americas, where every place that had been a shrine, an altar, because Great Cosmic Mother talks about it a lot when she talks about caves, when she talks about springs. Like there's this one chapter where she's talking about the significance of caves, springs, mountains, and how all of these were locations. Like even if it was a temple built to the goddess, it would typically be built around a spring or a cave. Typically they had a source of water, because the water would be like what's the word I want to use? The water, they would always try to build these temples to the goddess around sources of water that would be, and then they would build the temple around it so that the source of water could be right in the center as a representation of the lake down there, right? So when you hear stories like King Arthur and the Lady of the Lake, they're talking about the goddess that ruled the vagina, right? Every time you hear lake, every time you hear spring, every time you hear, I'm talking about in goddess worshiping mythology, or even in Greek mythology where they're still alluding to the goddess a little bit or whatever, they are talking about a wet ass pussy. Just keep it blood raw. That's what they talk about. That's what they talking about. The Lady in the Lake, all of these stories, it's about sex goddesses. It's about old mythology around weird ass pussy. Go back to the as a matter of fact, I told y'all that when we was reading the Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets on and I was saying that story that I just told y'all, remember I was telling y'all it was real pretty. It was like, yes, the pharaoh as a representation of Ra, petitions the great serpent of the Nile to assist him in his solar boat journey to the underworld. And that sounds real pretty, don't it? That sounds real, real nice. That sounds poetic, don't it? And I was like, y'all don't realize I just read y'all pornography. And everybody on the live was like, say what? Say what? I said, that was ancient Egyptian pornography I just read you. That was ancient Egyptian pornography I just read you when I'm talking about, the sun god Ra petitioning the mighty serpent to assist him in his journey on his solar boat into the underworld in sheep. Well, who was the great serpent? If the pharaoh, if the king was considered the personification of God on earth, Ra on earth, his wife was considered the personification of his wife, his heavenly wife, Isis on earth. You feel me? And whoever was queen at the time, one of her titles was called Serpent of the Nile. Her vaginal canal was the internal serpent, and her labia were the mouth of the serpent that envelops the sun god. And so he was basically saying what you would say, like if you married or you got a boo, you feel me? And he done had a long ass day out in the world in the sunlight at work, and it's time to go to sleep, but he's still riled up from the day. He come home, your ass asleep, and he tap you on the ass and be like, babe, can I get some pussy before I go to sleep so I can sleep good? And she like, yeah, I'll give you some pussy. And then he goes into a coma like most men do. When they climax, they fall right into a coma. You feel me? So he can be ready and rejuvenated for when he emerges from the underworld and is reborn at dawn when the sun peaks from behind the horizon. He, as a representation of the sun god Ra, who has been enveloped by the serpent of the Nile. Why the serpent of the Nile? Because she got a wet ass pussy. See how that worked? That's a pornography. It's very poetic, but it's still a pornographic story. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm telling y'all, it's coming. It's coming. Soon as this time is freed up, soon as our abundance is being unleashed, as soon as what do we say as a part of our conspiracy, the immediate reclamation of everything that belongs to us, and as soon as our shit start flowing, I'm about you so goofy. Go about your life. Oh, I'm about to start doing I'm gonna do a whole every god. I'm about to do a whole rewrite of mythological history. Hood classics. Let's see. Ancient mythology as hood classics by Cassandra-Floyd, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. We're gonna start doing all the books. You remember how Sister Soldier did a whole line of books that were like hood classics back in the 90s? It's gonna be hood classics. Greek mythology as hood classics. Egyptian mythology as hood classics. Chinese mythology as hood classics. Volume 1, 2, 3. You feel me? Because this mystery shit, I'm trying to tell you, once you decode mystery, baby, you see this shit everywhere. I'm talking about the okie doke has been pulled on us. The okie doke has been pulled on us. You want to know when we was talking about, speaking of Gemini season, I'm all over the place. But you remember we were talking about the twins and everything and the Gemini and everything. And remember I told you how in Arabic countries, the Gemini weren't people. They weren't twin people. They were twin peacocks. Remember that? And remember how I told you we talked a lot about the different archetypes used in different cultures. Boy, you gonna sit down or you gonna go about your life? Now you're doing too much, or whatever, right? But I think I missed it. I think I didn't get through it because I was so hyped about all the shit. So you remember I was telling you that the way we come up with have the scapegoat, right? Remember we talked about the scapegoat and where that came from? Anybody remember that? Anybody remember when I talked about where the idea of scapegoating came from? So at least what we know, what is considered common, exactly, Lydia, thank you. What we know is common knowledge. Yes, Java Watson, yes. I love it when y'all be like retaining shit. So in in Hebrew culture, which is where we've been told the origin of the idea of scapegoating came from, in Hebrew culture, they would this is so Hebrew culture obviously is different. Like when we read the Bible, when we grow up Christians, we whatever. In Hebrew culture, they would have two goats. So the Bible says in the Old Testament, there can be no remission of sin without the spilling of blood. There can be no remission of sin without the spilling of blood. The blood spilt has to be the blood of an innocent. You hear me? The blood spilt has to be the blood of an innocent. Okay, so in the Old Testament, when they needed to make a group sacrifice because the goddamn Hebrews was sinning left and right, they was doing all kind of fuckboy shit against their God. Here they is, the chosen people, and they the least likely to obey their God. They was just sitting to and fro. You feel me? And so they would have ceremonies where they had to get two goats. They had to get a goat that was going to carry the burden of their sin. You feel me? And then they had to get a goat that would shed his blood for the forgiveness of the sin. And so what they would do is they would have these two goats. Okay, they needed two goats. They would have two goats. They would do some kind of ceremony where all of them was together. Kind of like absolution in the Catholic Church when they used to do penance, when they used to do a lot penance, like cut themselves or flog themselves or do all kind of terrible, painful shit to themselves as a part of their penance. You feel me? Then this is how they would be forgiven, right? Where the Jews, what they would do is they would do a collective ritual where all of the shit they had did, somehow they would infuse it into one of the goats. They would like lay all their sins in one of the goats, okay? And then what they would have to do is they would have to, like pop the goat or whatever, and the goat would take off running into the woods to take all of their sins, out into the woods away from the people. This is why the goat was called a scapegoat, is because the goat had been defiled. The goat was now defiled because the goat was, quote, carrying away all the bad Hebrews' sins, all that bullshit they had been doing. All you do is read the Old Testament. They just committing crimes against their own deity every day, all the time. And then they like, we ain't got to worry about it because all we got to do is dump our sins into this goat and let him take off into the woods and he carry all our sins away. But that was not the completion of the ceremony. They needed the remaining innocent goat. You feel me? Who ain't did shit. You feel me? And they needed to spill his blood because that's what the thing says. There can be no remission of sin. There can be no remission of sin without spilling of blood. So one becomes the scapegoat. We put everything off on you. That's where scapegoating comes from. We put everything off on you to deflect from the fact that we the ones bad, but you carrying our shit. You carrying our sins. You become the bad guy. You become the scapegoat. That's where it comes from. Okay, so one little goat got to carry away all they malignant shit, you feel me, and be the perpetual bad guy. I am convinced this is why they turned, quote, the diabolical Satan into a goat. That's why everybody got a problem with the Baphomet. That's why everybody talking, like a sin eater. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Save Our Trees, right? And then they killed the other little goat. There you go. Okay. And then, so there's a reason I'm telling you this story. Because we're in Gemini season, okay? And these Hebrews, for thousands of years, have been using two goats to resolve their sin shit, right? And so this is how we have been told, and what is the common perception of where we get the two goats from and the scapegoat thing and whatever, right? Well, the Hebrews more than likely stole it from the Egyptians, like they stole damn near everything from the Egyptians, because for several thousand years, the archetype of the great heavenly twins known as Gemini in Kemetic culture were two goats. The Gemini twins are two goats in Kemetic tradition. The Gemini twins are two goats. They are a quote, heavenly representative of, what's her name? It's damn, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Her name starts with a B. I forget. But anyway, yep. The Kemetic twins are goats. Why is her name right in my mind's eye and I can't say it? But that's probably another reason why the Hebrews turned the, quote, iconography of the goat bad, is because this deity whose name her name starts with a B, most people recognize. There's another name that this deity has. It's Mendes, Mendes, I think, which is another word. No. It's a long name. It's whatever, I forget. But anyway, yeah, they got that. Oh, here it is. They got it from they stole it from the Egyptians. Y'all got to get this book. Okay, somebody asked earlier for the basilisk. I'm looking at my old videos. I'm like, damn, I was so disciplined. How let y'all get me on here just talking about any kind of motherfucking thing all over the place, not doing nothing? I said I was like, I used to be so disciplined on my YouTube channel. Anyway, Okay. Basilisk. Okay. The basilisk, I think it was Java Watson that asked about this. The basilisk, from Greek little king serpent, was sometimes also known as the cockatrice. It was supposed to combine elements of the bird and the snake. There's a whole chapter on the bird and the snake in the Great Cosmic Mother. Of the bird and the snake. Some said the fabulous basilisk was hatched from a hen's egg brooded by a serpent, or perhaps a serpent's egg brooded by a hen. Some said the creature wore a thrice pointed crown on its head, or that it had a three-pointed tail. But the outstanding characteristic of the basilisk was its poisonous gaze. Like the Gorgon Medusa, the basilisk was able to kill whatever looked at it, or alternatively breathed on. Thus, it was an animal embodiment of the evil eye. Also, like the Gorgon, the basilisk was associated with the menstrual blood. It was often claimed that a basilisk would grow from the buried hair of a menstruating woman. Okay. That a basilisk would grow, just spring up from the ground. From the hair of a bleeding woman. What that made me think of when I read it was the story Clash of the Titans. I don't know if y'all remember that, because somebody just mentioned Medusa. And Clash of the Titans, when who was it? Was it Perseus? It wasn't Perseus. Was it Perseus that was in Clash of the Titans? I don't remember. One of them yeses. I think it was Perseus who went to go save the girl, and he had to go see the Stygian witches, and he had to kill Medusa and take her head to stop the Kraken from eating his boo. Well, in Clash of the Titans, the original one, anyway, yeah, and the new one, in Clash of the Titans, he got the head. He got Medusa's head. He cut Medusa's head off and was carrying it around in a bag. And wherever her blood spilled, scorpions would spring up out, giant scorpions would spring up out of the ground. There was another story like that too. What was it? What was it? Oh, Kali. The story of Kali, right? Where Durga was slicing niggas' heads off. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. And every time she sliced a nigga head off, whenever the blood would hit the ground, another demon would spring up out the ground. Sound familiar? Sound just like what I just read. So she was slicing and dicing, and everywhere his blood flung and hit the ground, another full-grown demon would come up out of the ground. And so she became overwhelmed, and this is when Kali sprung from her forehead and got the business. And so she was slicing heads and sucking up the blood so it wouldn't hit the ground, and sticking it on her belt, and slicing heads and sticking it on her belt, and commenced to slaying all the demons. That also happened in the movie Hercules, where Hercules is trying to prove he's a hero, and he kills the Hydra, the 7-headed Hydra. But before he figures out how to kill her, he's slicing her head off. And everywhere he slices her head off, 2 heads come in its place. So he slices off 1 head, 2 more heads come up. Right? Yeah. So anyway. This was very interesting. So it says it was often claimed that a basilisk would grow from the buried hair of a menstruating woman, or again, its ancestors were the very same snakes that grew on the Gorgon's head, which was the ancient symbol of warning about menstrual mysteries. According to popular belief, the basilisk could be killed only by the same method used by Perseus against the Gorgon. That is, one must back up to the creature holding a mirror so that the basilisk might see its own poisonous reflection and drop dead. Old-fashioned cannons were sometimes decorated with snake-like forms and were referred to as basilisks. The name has been given also to an ordinary animal, a lizard of the iguana family. Okay, so that's it. I feel like I'm fading. I do not know what's going on with me and my lack of discipline. Everybody's sending me these old videos of myself. I was like, damn, I was so demure. I had such a disciplined demeanor several years back. I don't know what happened. But anyway, let me see if there's something I cannot. Let's see. Oh, okay. So you intellectuals, you caretakers, you healers and shit, put your hands on something. Put your hands in something. Construct something. Shape something. I want to share with you what I am working on, and I hope to finish this weekend. So my girlfriend had given me paper mache, like major art is very huge out here. So you can go and get like raw paper mache, like things and like paint them. So I have a bunch of them, like 6 or 7 of them. And I was like, I'm going to do something with one of these little paper mache dolls. And so I started making a collage to the goddess on my paper mache doll. I'm not done with it, but I want to share my progress because I have 6 of these ladies. And so I'm going to do all of them in honor to a different goddess. So I am doing this one as the goddess Oshun. So she came like completely white. And so I'm doing, not Oshun, Oya. I'm doing this one to the goddess Oya, right? So I'm going to show it to you big style, right? And then, oh, hey, Lily, girl, what you doing up? I tried to call you the other day. I think yesterday, as a matter of fact. Let's talk tomorrow. Maybe we can go have breakfast or something. Call me. So anyway, so you see, I have Oya as her face, right? So you see the image of Oya conjuring the storm, conjuring the tornado, right? And then I have like a serpent goddess in her heart chakra, right? You feel me? My light on my YouTube channel is kind of weird. It looks like y'all can see it fine over there. Then I gave her this little kind of golden purple sash. And then I started constructing ancestors at the bottom of her dress because Oya, I want to tell y'all something. Oya, I don't know if y'all remember when I talked about her at length, but Oya doesn't just conjure the winds. Oya is said to that the Egun, the ancestors, are her army. When Oya wants to level the playing field, when she wants to create a new way, when she wants to destroy structures of the old, it says that the Egungun or the ancestors are her army. She uses the Egun to cause destruction. That the Egun come in the winds of her storms to cause destruction, baby. So when we get up on here speaking this conspiracy, right? What we say in the conspiracy? All things Oya, right? So anyway, I started the images that I usually use for like bracelets that I print out and stuff. I just started cutting them out real intricate, like, and like shaping this collage of our ancestors and the deities. So it's all female ancestors and some of the deities, like up in there, right? So I've got Lozen. I don't know if y'all know Lozen, but she was Geronimo's like chief general. She was like a revolutionary gangster. So Lozen's in there, Nina Simone's in there, Josina Michelle, who is probably my all-time favorite heroine of all time. Got Asantewa, this gorgeous picture of Nina Simone here in the nude, right? I got Frida Kahlo in there, Billie Holiday, of Queen A Honda up in there, Queen Nzinga. Who else is up in there? Queen T is up in there. So it's going to take a long time. But so I've just been taking tweezers and little bitty scissors and clipping out the pictures and then just constructing the collage. And see, I got this goddess that rules the root chakra at her yoni point there, because that's obviously a yoni goddess, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna have her covered completely with images of ancestors. And then I came up with an idea today, literally seeming out of nowhere. This is her head, her background, right? And I have these little bitty pine cones that I've been trying to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with these pine cones. I just had the idea today that what I'm gonna do is pull all the little, you know how when a pine cone has those little, boom, boom, like the little boom, you know, you can take them apart. So I'm gonna take them apart and use the pine cones to construct her hair, like the little pine cone, like pellets or flakes or whatever. You peel them off and use them separately to construct her hair. Right? So it's gonna be awesome. So this is the first one that I'm doing my little trial run, but I have 5 more of these that my homegirl gave. And then I just used gold tape to shape her crown. Like the crown, meaning she already had a crown on, the whole thing was constructed, but I was like, ooh, it'd be dope if her crown is copper. So I bought this copper tape from the craft store to shape her little crown and her goddess face. Yeah, so I'll finish that one, and then I have 5 more. And so the other 5 are going to be to other deities. So I'm definitely doing Kali. And I'll probably do one that is like the straight Iyami, like the Iyami Ajay. What? Somebody said they can't see. The light is weird in here, the way it's reflecting. The Iyami Ajay. So Iyami Ajay, I'll probably do one to like Lilith. I got 5 more, so I got to figure out who I'm going to dedicate them to, but because they're all on my altar, but they all just naked. They all just straight paper mache. I'm happy with it so far. It's fire. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do, is to find something, even if it is small. But all of you women who have, and some women aren't even healers. Some women have jobs that are very heady, that are more like tech, or they're like, office jobs or whatever. And the problem is, I'm finding a lot with women who are experiencing these frustrations that they're expressing in readings, is that they have a monstrous amount of energy in their head, and all of their work is heady work. And so there is no outlet to like harmonize that very like intangible, intellectual energy and output. All their input and output is up here. It's very yang, it's very heady, intangible energy. And especially with female-bodied people, with women, with females, just because of our biology, just because of our like hormonal harmony, we need a physical output to match this massive quantity of very young, energetic, heady intellectual information that we have stored here, with no functional material outlet for it. And so that's why I got on that long ass story about calling on women to put their hands in the dirt, that no matter what you end up doing, I'm going to tell every colored woman, take at least one pottery class before you go on to do and try other things. Put your hands in the mud. I'm telling you, it will change you. So many women have emailed me back and was like, oh my God, that pottery class, I was like dreading it the whole time. I can't believe how significantly different I felt after one class. You have to start creating in a way that we leave an actual, tangible, physical, evidentiary mark on the material world. one woman, I asked her, I said, with all the contributions that you've made to the company that you've been working for like 20 something years now, I said, if you leave tomorrow, would there be anything that anybody could point to in any way that they say, oh yeah, she did that. That's her work. She's like, oh my God, I never thought about it that way. Yeah. What is the evidence that your ass even existed on your job for 22 years? You know what I'm saying? I've had that epiphany doing all that work inside revolutionary organizations and doing awesome shit. And when they got an attitude with me about what I was trying to make happen, and then that ended up having me quit, maybe they went to the website and every picture that I was in, every demonstration where my face is in the demonstration. When I say they literally went through the entire website and methodically removed my picture from every page on the website, like I had not spent 12 years of my fucking life in that organization. All the archives of the 6 years of radio I did for that organization disappeared into oblivion, nowhere to be found. Like literally erasing the evidence that you were ever even there and contributed 12 years of your life to that institution, whatever that institution is, whether it's your job or whatever. There was no tangible evidentiary mark that that I had ever been there. And so a lot of people are experiencing that even with their job. Even after I left the party, hiring myself out as a event coordinator, as an event planner for these different organizations, I was doing monstrously amazing work. And baby, when I tell you, you can't find it nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We have to start creating shit. What I wanted to be when I wanted to be when I grew up, and I told you it was 3 things that I was definitive that I was going to do all 3, was I wanted to be a musician, a professional, globally known musician. I got a full scholarship, a full music scholarship to major in music composition. I wanted to write famous movie scores as my day job and be a rock and roll star at night. I was convinced. Okay, and taking strides in that direction. And then I wanted to be a fashion designer. I was obsessed. I made my own clothes. As soon as I got a hold of a sewing machine in my home economics class, bitch, my mama stayed mad because I did not want her to buy me nothing. I don't want to wear anything anybody else got. I'm making my own shit. And some of it was terrible, but I was still gonna rock my shit. Right. And then I wanted to be a fashion designer and I wanted to be a metal sculptor. I still am obsessed. I wanted to be a metal sculptor. I wanted to be a famous metal sculptor of really giant pieces. I really wanted to do big pieces. Tried to take metallurgy in high school in Abbeville, Alabama, and the shop instructor refused to teach girls. Yep. So it crushed my dreams of being a metal sculptor. I haven't given up on it yet though, but at the time it crushed my dreams of being a metal sculptor, that because I was a female, I could not take shop. And even looking back at my childhood, how much influence adults in general and men in particular had on my life. I started playing saxophone in the 5th grade. The only reason I played saxophone is because my band instructor refused to let girls play the drums. Mr. Peak, I'll never forget him. Mr. Peak, I was in the 5th grade. Mr. Peak, very super flamboyant gay white man, but he was flamboyant, but like still very like debonair, like dressed very well, always smelled very good, but his mannerisms, he was like obviously gay. And so we had to choose, like the representatives would come to the school and show us all the instruments and demonstrate all the instruments and then ask the kids to go around and choose the instrument that they wanted to play. And I already knew I wanted to play the drums. And Mr. Peak said, with a very lovely voice, little girls are not supposed to play the drums. Why don't you choose the flute or the clarinet? And I was so mad. I was so mad. And I was like, no, I'm going to play the saxophone if I can't play the drums. I was like, I want to play something big. If I can't play what I want to play, I'll play something big. So I chose the saxophone. That's how I started playing sax. It was because a man told me I could not play the drums. Moved in with my dad a year later, who was living in Biloxi, Mississippi. The entire drum line was girls, all black, all girls. The entire drum line. I was so mad. I was so mad. Right. So that's one time a man had like deviated what I knew was my path, what I knew was my purpose. As a matter of fact, 20, let's see, I was in the 5th grade. So like 28 years later, I got an E5 divination from a man who told me, you're supposed to be playing the drums. Why aren't you playing the drums? I was like, what do you mean? Why am I not? Why would you say that? Where that came from? He was like, you come from a long line of drummers. I said, I don't know any drummers in my family's line. Like all the men on my dad's side of the family were self-taught musicians, but they play stringed instruments, bass, guitar, stuff like that. He was like, you come from a much longer line of like spiritual drummers. You need to learn how to play the drums. And this white man 28 years earlier, my little 5th grade baby self was like, I want to play the drums so bad, mama. I want to play the drums. And he was like, no, you have to play the flute or the clarinet. And so I chose the saxophone. So many times men have intervened in me chasing what I did not know at the time, but me chasing my destiny. I've always been obsessed with the drums. To this day, still obsessed with the drums. I'm eventually going to learn, but right now I'm learning how to play the goddamn sitar that's kicking my ass. I feel you, Lily. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. You played the accordion. I love it. That's cute. I played in a band with a guy who plays the accordion professionally now, but when we were at college, I played the baritone sax and he played the accordion, and we used to play at little local pizza joints and shit. I was very pregnant and very bald headed. And he was very, very, very tall, like 6'3", and he looked like a fairy. He was bright white with jet black hair and blue eyes and had an extraordinarily baritone voice. And we played gigs all over our little college town. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yes. So put your hands in something or on something. Construct something from your imagination, from nothing, from the beginning, from the start. I've been doing so much this week. I collected, I'll show y'all at a later date, but I've been collecting plant items because I have an idea. So I'm going to get, what you call it? Sound bath bowls. That's my next project, is to save enough money to get myself the set of sound bath bowls that I want. They're all black with gold filigree. I love it. And they're actually pretty affordable. So I want to get this set. It's a set of 7 black matte sound bath crystal bowls. And so I was like, I am going to make my own noisemakers, right? I saw this sister. It's pretty popular here. I saw the sister and she had this really big bunch of palm leaves, a very specific kind of palm that this woman made for her. And they use it in ceremony a lot here. Y'all see my baby sitting on my lap. Somebody just mentioned, yeah, you can see him on IG better. You trying to see? You always trying to see it. It's like y'all, you can't even hear people, but you know they just looking at you, so you just being extra cute. Oh, Snuggle Bunny, that's my boo. That's my boy. That's my boy. Huh? That's my boy. You my baby. You my baby. That's my boo. So anyway, that's the next project. So I saw the sister, she's Filipino and she does sound baths. And I saw this in E5 too a couple of times where they took a bunch of palm leaves and they used it on people's bodies, to clear negative energy. This woman came and did a house clearing for me, my godmother. So I never move my stuff into a place until I go and clean the place, even if it looks sparkling. I'm going to clean the place, and then I'm going to have somebody come and do a ceremony, because I don't know, somebody might have died up in here, beat up their wife up in here, or whatever. Like a straight up home clearing, energetic home clearing before I move any of my things into a new place. So she would use like palm leaves bunched together to do that. So I saw the sister doing a sound bath, this Filipino sister, and she had several, she bought them from other people, but they were still like handmade noisemakers. One was this handmade noisemaker made of palm leaves. So she had a bunch of them bound together with like rope, and it was really beautiful. And the noise, if you will, was very subtle, but like it almost sounded like rain, right? So I was like, ooh, that's a brilliant idea. So I'm gonna make my own noisemakers. And I found these pods. I'm tempted, you know what? Let me go get them. I'm tempted to just show you since I'm just on here rambling. Let me show it to you really quick. Watch out, buddy. What you doing, girly? What's up, boy? Hey, you trip. So I was so hype when I found these, because on the tree, they're gorgeous, right? They're like long, flat, burgundy pods. So I had this idea, and I imagined in my head like what they would sound like once I bound them together. Because the pods are long. They're like this long, and they're burgundy and they're flat. But they look like bean pods, right? On this, and the flowers that bloom from them are extraordinary. Brilliant purple, beautiful flowers. I was like, damn, if they dry just like that, they'll make this like gloop gloop, kind of like gloop 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 kind of noise. I'm like imagining what they'll sound like because the pods are thick. So I've got a bunch of them. I was out. People were like, what the girl doing in that damn tree? I got a bunch of them, and I was like, so I took half of them to see if I could dry them on a very low heat, like 100 degrees in my oven, like quick drying, because they were so thick as pods. I knew that they were going to take a lot of time to just hang them like I do my other herbs in the house and try to just like let them naturally dry. So I did half and put them in the oven, half and put them in the house. And both ways, they dried the same way. They shriveled up a lot. Like they shriveled up a lot. And then they not only shriveled up, they like became twisty. Like, I don't know. So I haven't figured it out. I think I'm gonna go get another round and see if I can dry them the same way, but like have something heavy and flat so that they stay flat, right? Like they stay flat when they dry, because when they dry, they like twist. So I'm gonna show you. They still make a pretty noise. So I just strung these with some hemp, and I'm probably gonna put some more hemp on there. So this was just what I hung it up on to dry it, but like do a cute little bind on the handle, on the hilt, and so it's like subtle. I'll just let you see what they look like before I shake them. All right. The color looks funky on my screen, but it's actually very pretty. They're actually still very kind of burgundy-esque. I might spray them down with something that makes them shimmer a little more because they look very dry. But yeah, the noise is pretty. Then I took leaves from the same tree. The leaves, the flowers, and the little pods. Very gorgeous. And I took the leaves and I dried them. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do, because they seem kind of fragile, is maybe put some kind of finish on them, like a thin finish, so they don't crumble or break. But I dried them too. And I want to do the same thing, like kind of string them together, because I have a sneaking finish that if I can get the feeling that if I can get them, together, that they'll make a really nice noise too. All right. Then I told you I spent like 2 hours the other night collecting bamboo leaves and sticks from outside when they cut the trees down. But anyway, those are the leaves that came from the same tree as the pod came from. And this is what they look like after I dried them. Yep. So we're like, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. So I've been up in here. I ain't telling y'all to do no shit that I'm not been like actively up in here doing. You feel me? And I think I'm going to, I've had a candle making kit for a hot minute. I think I'm going to finally get up in here and dredge up the courage to fuck up my first candle. So I'll let y'all know how that goes. But that I'm excited about. That is awesome. Ooh, I love it. Anyway. Yeah. So that's that. I'm definitely going to have to do the reading for you guys tomorrow. I'm sorry. It's still going to be relevant because there's so much. It's so crazy. I pulled those cards so much of what I've been telling y'all all week, even with regards to the conspiracy, is in the pull I did for you guys. So we'll do that tomorrow. I might do that in the morning since there are several people that are saying they can't hang with the like Lily just said, I gotta go Mimi's. Like, yeah, it's late. I'm sleepy. And a lot of people can't hang. So I'll do the reading in the morning maybe. So some people can catch a daytime reading for a change. And soon enough, too, everybody's been asking about the book club. I'm going to reread. I told you there are 3 books that I have been asked to reread because they're short. And when I read them, I was using StreamYard, which was giving me a lot of problems with the quality of my recording. So I'm going to reread the Sibyls. I'm going to reread the Bell Hooks book, Communion, The Female Search for Love. And I'm going to reread the the Great Black Mama of Creation. Those are very, very short books. And so I'll read those back to back. And that way we can go ahead, hopefully midway through June. If not the beginning of July, we can go ahead and restart the book club. All right. I think I'm going to close out. I'm sleepy. I'm fading fast. And I got a lot to do tomorrow. But I will definitely do a live tomorrow. And I will see y'all then. In the meantime, I'm going to send y'all the email with the revisions for the conspiracy. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll make sure. Night, Lily, call me tomorrow. Let's go eat breakfast or something. Let's go get Hawaiian food. So what I'll do is at the beginning, I'll make sure that I send a notification out at least a day early. I obviously won't be doing it tonight because it's already 2 o'clock in the morning. Just know that sometime in the morning, I'm gonna do a live. After that, I'm going to do notifications for the lives coming up because I want you guys to be up on here early so that from now until August 25th, the first thing I'm going to do is announce my name, Cassandra-Floyd, Temple of Evolutionary Emerge, and then the very next thing that we're going to do before we do anything else is read the conspiracy together. I will start doing that at the beginning of every live. The first thing we're going to do is read the conspiracy together, and then we'll get into what it is we're getting into. Okay? All right. See you guys tomorrow. Everybody sleep well, deeply, and peacefully. Allow the mother to have her way with you in your dreams. Maybe she got a breakthrough coming for you. When we speak this conspiracy, when you at home thinking about conspiracy, not only to be thinking about, redemption and shit, but imagine our massive collective abundance raining down on us in the tunes of everything that we need to set the shit off and to secure our own lives while we do that. That being said, thank you so much. Bless you all. I love you all. And I will see you Melissa, I wish I was having Hawaiian food in Hawaii, but now my ass gonna be in LA trying to find some Hawaiian food. Okay. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great night. Peace. Do, 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 do.